We start out on this new boat. No turning back. But we have our ancestors with us. We're going to continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Seeing them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of that Mayan prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapku. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapku.
People who say that the gods made them from corn. They planned their lives according to the heavens. Well-versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world. Planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always, they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams, we learn from the Maya gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire, and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's a fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs. They still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive and well.
Because American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Fakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapku. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapku.
Yo, yo, yo.
1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
LA natives.
Husky Radio, OG Husky Radio in the house today.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having us, man. Thank you.
No, bro, this is like an honor for me because your radio show to me is like classic LA.
In what way?
In the way that LA creates its own thing, right? Yeah. And you did that with your radio. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean? Like in how you structure it, where it's at, how you host it.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff behind the scenes people don't really see, or the headaches we were talking about off the air and type stuff. But like you're going through it now with this LA Natives podcast.
Absolutely.
So like just anything I could help with or like put you up on, like you're gonna encounter this, you're gonna encounter, you know what I mean? I've been through every single thing of it. So
yeah, you've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
and I like the way you like tell us about the beginning of it.
Going back, I think I would definitely have to like start with just the name. So I grew up in the Rose Hill Projects in East LA, and I had a friend by the name of Husky, and he was a Chicano rapper for what it is, you know, topics of violence, et cetera, et cetera. Right. But he was really good, and there was no outlet for him. But even going farther than that.
And what year was it?
This is, man, we're talking about 80s, 90s, you know what I mean?
Going into early 90s?
Early 90s,
late
yeah.
80s, okay.
Okay, and but even before that, early 80s, he always had all the dope hip-hop. Like, back then it was the cassette tapes, you know what I mean? And he always had the dope tapes, and of course, we would copy them or he would lend them to us or whatever. Right. So, unfortunately, he passed away in the mid 90s. So when obviously from then to now, it's just strictly, I've been doing hip hop events and stuff of that nature. But when this format came across, I was like, I'm gonna put it for his name, because if he would have had the outlet, then and back then, man, it was like, how can I put it? A lot of stuff was taboo. You know what I mean? You can't talk about this. You can't do that. Unlike now, that's one of the things from doing this a long time that kind of trips me out, is that, like, man, people talk a lot.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crazy. That's kind of what changed the most for me. People are really reckless, like no responsibility to what they're putting out there.
Right.
And to each his own. Can't knock the hustle.
Well, I mean, the expression of a human is going to vary, right? And the twistedness of humanity's mentality, no one can put a finger on, so you can't expect I mean, think about it. There's like child porn and crazy shit like that, and that's available to people. So we can't really be like, in the sense of trying to create a place where that's not going to happen, because everybody's going to have their own opinion, like you said.
Yeah, but if someone advocated that or did something, they're getting socked in the mouth and shit.
Yeah, there's
you know what I mean? Like, that's where the internet, like, you can do stupid shit and like you don't answer to it, or like, oh, it's for the sake of entertainment.
Very good point. Yeah. Very, very good point. Because you're in the safety of your home.
Yeah.
No one kind of doesn't know where you live. It's not like they can't find out, but
and one of the bigger successes that I think we stood the longevity is that too, though, is that I always strive for like live shows and getting people together. And I think, like, on the LA natives tip is like, I think that's what this whole COVID, like, the underlying propaganda of it is to separate us, and I think it's been successful.
Yeah, well, and Masatin talked about as an elder that we ask, and he brought this book and this poster, and I always have them because it's very factual. But as much as they try to control the true reality of our reality, it was time, he said, for us to look into ourselves and to be restricted in that way. So the way I look at elites and things like in the mess that we're in right now, because we still have a lot of cleaning up to do. There's a lot. My son, who missed a year of school, I really struggle with him. He doesn't want to go out of the house. Not because he's scared, just because he doesn't have to. Why? I do my school on my phone. I play in my room. Like,
socially, though, what quote unquote, like, when he goes out into the real world, is he going to be able to interact, or will it all have to be through Zoom?
Yeah, no, that he's going to have a culture shock, because the one thing I'm trying to encourage for him, because of this whole situation, is that, come with me, let's go to the mall. You're going to get into, music lessons, something like that. I have to be proactive, because the situation that we were put in, is our responsibility to kind of have to deal with. And sometimes a lot of people wait and go, what is the answer? Oh, the answer's here. Let me roll up my sleeve. That's not the answer. The answer is take care of yourself. Know as much as you can about your own health. And at least that's my movement, with this whole thing.
Did you take the vaccine?
No.
Why not?
Because I feel like science is in a corporate state right now. It's not in the state of wanting to heal people. And now let me explain you why. Because if it was, it would be like George Washington Carver, or the person that invented penicillin. What happened with the dude that invented penicillin? He didn't patent it. He made it available to everyone because he wanted to heal. And this, they asked whoever's in control of the vaccine patent, and they said no.
Well, but just to put it out there, like you said, science, but I think it's pharmaceutical companies,
right?
Because science is different from the pharmaceutical companies.
But they come in the same. Pharmaceutical come with science, and here's the pharmaceutical product.
Because if we just trust scientists that would do it, but if you have a big company that's putting it out there, then of course they're looking to make profits.
Well, I mean, this has been it's been evident. You could see it. You could see it. People get sick.
How about someone that has an underlying health condition, and they would have to take it, right? I mean, pretty much they're not taking care of themselves, and you got to look at, like you said, you got to look at yourself and be like, hey, man, I'm not taking care of myself.
Absolutely.
morbidly obese. I smoke.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I ain't got no choice. I got to do it.
And that's the perspective that I grown to learn to be.
Okay.
Right? Like I've learned that, look, if I take my history of being Native American right now, I can't tell you where my tribe's from. So the person that put me there, is the person that's going to heal me right now? No, he's not. He's going to wait for me to be submissive and then go, here, go stand in that corner now. Okay, now go stand in that corner now. Hey, now you can wear the mask. Don't wear the mask. It's like, come on, dude. So when I figured that out, I said, I got to be outside of that reservation. And when you go outside of that reservation, guess what? You're alone. So you have to look around. You have to read a book. You have to do this. You have to. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, wow, superfoods. Oh, wow, mineral foods. Oh, wow.
And even just water, like legit water. You know what I mean? Like not just, breaking it down. Like
with our culture, since I studied so much history and ceremony and then went to people and they have certain herbs and stuff like that, I started realizing that, and I don't want to toot my own horn because our culture has its own issues to deal with. It was just as equal as this in terms of
hierarchy,
ego, sleeping with somebody's wife. I mean, all that stuff still existed. It wasn't like we were like, oh yeah, we didn't do anything. But they just knew how to treat the masses because they go, healthy masses will be working happily, but starving masses are going to come after us. And that's the mentality that I think they haven't grown out of, which is Eastern Europeans.
Can you survive in colonialism though?
Yeah.
And how do you?
I think you do because it's like you think about the 1800s and you go, in the 1800s, there were wild natives and they caught them and put them in reservations. So they fought a different way. You have to fight a different way. You have to adapt. It's not like I'm going to fight so I can live like in the past. Okay. It's just, I'm going to keep fighting. I have to keep, picture yourself in a jail. Once you get out of jail, you have to do everything you can so no one sees you or catches you so you could stay out of jail. That's what I feel that in this time, that's our new kind of approach by being extremely healthy and extremely responsible for your own self.
I'm doing the interview and shit. Would you think like the?
I love it.
Would you think like the colonizers though? They control technology.
Yeah, of course they do.
So then, how do you operate within it if it's being controlled or even
it's
censorship?
Like I kind of think of it like this: if I'm in a reservation and I escape that reservation, is my morals going to keep me from driving a car to get further away? Yeah. Oh, there's no gas in the car. I'm running away. Oh, but my morals won't let me put more gas in.
You ain't trying to give BP no money or something.
No, dude. I'm survival mode. If there's a bottled water, I'm going to drink it. I'm not going to go, hey. I'm not going to pose with it, but I'm going to drink it. I'm going to live in a house with electricity. As long as I feel that I'm still living on my moral code. It doesn't require anybody else to agree with it. But as long as, like when you meet me, you go, oh, I remember him. I like him. Oh, yeah. He was
from the evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
People that reference that if you're in the chat.
That's a classic album, by the way, right? It's a classic album.
Indeed.
LA natives, look, I love this guy, OG Husky Radio. And I'm going to tell you a story now. Now's the appropriate time for that story. So I get a call, and it's one of your, I don't know if it was you or whoever was involved with it, but they're like, hey, I want to interview you. I want to interview El Vuh. And I was like, yeah, this is like hip hop. It's like a hip hop radio station. It's not like a school, an organization, somebody wanting information. It's like, I finally got into the hip hop realm. Yeah, they're going to know what's up. So I go there, I sit down, and then it's you, brothers. He's like, you're sitting down. You're like, so first question you hit me with is like, so, are you trying to convert all of us into natives?
I didn't even remember that.
That was the first question he asked. The first one, I was like, huh? Like, usually it's like, oh, dude, I love Aztec culture and I love Mayan culture. What do you think of 2012? And it was like, first question he asked me, he's like, sit down. I was like, all right, cool, what's up? So are you trying to turn everybody into? Like, do you go door to door and say, hey, you're native? And I was all, Absolutely not.
One of the things is I always wanted questions asked that you want to ask.
Absolutely.
But in a respectful manner. Don't get me wrong. That's not like, oh, you're going to cross that line.
You know what? I answered the question right because you didn't come back with another question trying to make me say something. You know what I mean? Like, when you're like, no, you're lying. You're trying to hide that. It was just like, oh, made sense.
I put it to you. So my sons are in their 20s now. But when they were young, because of the way I grew up, we didn't have a lot of opportunities. So then for them, I put them in every sport or anything you could think of.
Wow.
Like soccer, baseball, basketball. The flip side, a lot of people don't know that unless close friends, but they actually took up Aztec dancing.
Wow.
And they were actually B-boys. They actually like performed with KRS-One right here in downtown.
Wow.
But they love basketball. That's what, from all the stuff that I exposed them to, that's what I did. So for a good 3-4 years, every Sunday we're at ceremony.
Wow.
I just never shared that. Like, that's just my personal, you know what I mean? So like my kind of life experience is that I could relate to the quote unquote, the Mexica movement, the LA natives, but I can still relate to that kid in the projects growing up right now. Cause like I come from all of that, you know what I mean? So I have a better understanding, but I have to present it in a way where like people that aren't or haven't experienced that can respect it and be like, oh, cause even, one thing I want to ask you is like with the LA natives on a marketing level, does it hinder you in any way? Or even like because of the label or brand?
I don't really. I want to look at LA is where we're from.
Okay.
Armando, whoever is a part of this, that's where we're from. But we're natives. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who are born in LA who are natives, but they don't know it. Kind of like you. And my job as an artist is to go, hey, there's a history here. Take a look. And if you can relate both of them, cool. But you know what? If we really study natives is global. Natives is the land.
Do you like
it'd be indigenous more than anything, right?
Indigenous, but I use the word natives just I don't know, that's what came in my mind.
Yo, Bubsky, like, do you like the name?
Of course.
Okay.
Because, one of the other things that I never heard in my life was like Angelinos. Who made that up?
Yeah.
Like, I never even heard people that use that. Like, for real, in my whole life, I'm old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never heard nobody say Angelino, but I'm an LA native.
I think
the only time I've ever heard that was from politicians.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
if you think about it, right? Like, I never.
And they're only talking about the city of Los Angeles. Anything else outside of the city of Los Angeles.
That's right. Within our jurisdiction.
Exactly. I've always liked your style of interview, bro. I think you ask the right questions because you're a very smart guy and you know what your audience wants to hear because you're putting yourself in their shoes, right?
Yeah, because I am the audience.
Exactly.
I'm fully in. I mean, I love hip hop more than anything. When music wise, let me put it that, not like that, but like music wise, hip hop is definitely my. But just so people will know, is like I still DJ. You know what I mean? But when it first started, we had someone else doing the interviews, and I would be in the back and like ask them this, ask them that. And like they're getting pissed off, but then they would ask it and it would like go a different way. You know what I mean? So then they're like, why don't you just do the interview then? All right then.
Yeah.
So I guess, you don't, that's what was needed.
Right.
Even now, like, damn, how could I put it? So vested in it, man, when it comes to like sound system, still having new music, being able to interview, being able to be a light person or like anything that's needed, you know what I mean? I was talking that with Armando after. It's like you have to be able to do all that now. Like there's no big teams no more. Like
it's a one-man army,
right?
And you better be correct about your content.
Like my homie Anomaly, like he's a one-man army, but he clears millions of views. And I'm like, yo, if he's doing it like that, then there's no excuse for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
How come you don't show your face, though?
Well, because I'm engineering.
Oh, okay. But we could put another camera.
No, for sure.
See, I love this dude. I love this dude. I love this
but
dude.
You know what? Maybe it was planned like that because we've been doing that since day one.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I need a higher engineer because I'm very I can't trust people.
I don't think Armando will ever come from outside of the back. I don't know. Are you interested in being in front of the camera?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah?
cool.
Oh, it's
You know,
Then
we're
good.
about to launch the Underground Hip Hop blog channel.
Okay, so we're hiring an engineer.
There
Let's
it
see.
is, putting it out there. There's a job open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do chime in here and there.
Yeah. I mean, Armando really resurrected my career, bro, to be honest with you. And it's weird because the first show that they did as Underground Hip Hop Blog was called the Indigenous Hip Hop Powwow. And it was
called the Hip Hop Powwow.
Or the Hip Hop Powwow.
Yeah.
But we didn't use the word indigenous. But
Yeah, we headlined Gavilan back in 2012. We got our first video interview, by the way. And then we were thinking, like, okay, who else can we book? And we were like, we're big El Vuh heads. So we wanted to book the group, but then Zero stepped up and did it.
Yeah, people don't know, but like even talking to you, we could talk hip hop for like a long time, bro. Like
we've seen it all between both of us. We've seen it.
Well, so if you ever get a chance and you're like really into music, like talk to this cat, dog.
Yes.
Like good conversation, especially with LA. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're fortunate because we're spoiled, dog.
Bro,
there's so much. I mean, good and bad. And when I say bad, in the sense is like people that do it and then just stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like for whatever personal reasons or whatever. But like
it's hard. It's hard to be independent artist. I was at that point. I was at the point like, okay, cool. I'm a businessman. I have my superfood smoothie company. I don't need to do this no more. It's crazy. I never thought that thought would ever enter my mind. And then here comes Armando going, we want to book El Vuh for the Regent. And I knew the Regent. I was like, fuck yeah. And I did everything in my power to try to make that happen. But some circumstances arose. And then I ended up doing that solo show in front of.
So then me doing interviews, I need to know what the circumstances were.
Oh.
I have to ask. Like I'm saying, people out there listening probably like, yeah, what were the circumstances? You know what I mean? Like
I think that with the group El Vuh, it was hard to do collective decision making because 50% of it revolved around that moral code. You know what I mean? Like, let's review the moral code first. Let me see. And for me, it was like, put me in front of anyone. I don't care. Just put me in front of anyone. And so I felt like the Conejo show at the Regent was a challenge because nobody there heard of El Vuh or me, you know? And I felt collectively as El Vuh, let's go do our thing. But they felt like, that's not our crowd, and it's a big venue. And
wow, I wouldn't even think, personally, like as an outsider, I've been like, I wouldn't even think that. I would just be like, we're tapping into our culture, our people.
Yeah.
That's
No,
crazy.
not-
I'm saying, but like, I can understand that, like maybe not even what he rapped, but just not our crowd. I guess.
Like, is anybody gonna listen to us in this crowd? Like, kind of like saying like that, like, you know, like I don't know if this is something I want. And then the venue was an issue with them because it's like popularized. It's like I said, 50% moral code. Like we're not that band.
So like moral code. So then does it even go back? Can I put it? Well, fuck, it is what it is. But
ask it, bro. I'm not. I don't lie.
Like alcohol. Like they're selling alcohol.
That
there.
kind of like it was a bar.
I see outside people wouldn't understand that. Yeah, like
it's a bar.
And I completely respect that.
Yeah.
Like because some artists do have principles.
Like it's a club.
You know, like it's the foundation of the artist.
But the way I feel about those environments, those are the most challenging environments. Like I don't want to go like. Yeah, it's cool to go to a Mecha event and all those kids are there to see you. But then it's also cool to go, no one knows me here at all.
Me and DJ Top Rank, and also shout out Detail who's here with me today too. But we have this thing where we call it safety hip hop when we DJ. So there's songs that you could play that no matter what, they'll get you out of the jam. We try not to play those.
Right.
Because those are ones everybody knows.
Right.
I think that's kind of the success too, though, is because you're gonna just go in your own genre.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking about that after. Is that like, I want to tap in everywhere,
right?
And like, it's all hip hop. As an indigenous MC, do you listen to other hip hop? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I look at the most inspiring thing for me, though, as a writer and as an artist, is visual art. Okay. Like, I don't look to hip hop to go, oh, I want to write that. I don't.
Yeah.
None of hip hop's genre ever inspired any one of my lyrics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I didn't hear a jam and said, oh, wow, I want to do that. Because usually hip hop artists reference Like you can hear it. Like some MCs, oh look, I MC, and they sound exactly like Eminem.
Yeah.
So you could tell they were on Eminem for like 3 years, and they figured out his style, and now they rhyme. For me, I never went that way. I went to a visual art, and then I would just kind of be like, oh, that's crazy. Like, oh, why did he do? And it just would expand my mind in a way. Then go to the beat and start writing. You dig? Like different little things like that I did just to be different from getting inspiration from the same pool.
From my understanding, though, too, hip hop in the elder indigenous community is kind of frowned upon too when you guys first came out, right?
Yeah, it wasn't easy to get gigs, and
I think because I think outside people don't know that. You know what I mean? Like you guys were getting it both sides.
Yeah,
but go ahead. Yeah.
No. We had a problem that people didn't even identify with being indigenous when they were. I mean, they were browner than me, and they did not identify. What do you mean? Why do you say that? I'm not that. I'm Mexican, right? And you look at Mexican, you're like, okay, well, I'm Mexican because a Spaniard told me, Mexica, no son, ya no son eso. Mexicas no. And right? And you hear that and hear that and hear that. Orphan children can get programmed, and the Jesuits knew that. So that's why we in that state.
Family separation is like the first thing.
Absolutely.
But then, do you deny that you have Spaniard blood?
No.
Okay.
No.
So then, do you embrace that you have Spaniard blood?
No, I don't embrace their culture. I don't embrace their culture. I don't think their culture comes with love, but humanity makes humans. And so my blood, whatever's, doesn't matter. What matters to me is how I represent and speak. That's it. Because how I represent and speak will point you to one thing: Native, indigenous. Definitely. Right?
I'll tell you a story real quick. So my son we'd go to ceremonies on Sundays. He's probably like in the 3rd or 4th grade. And they are starting to learn about the missions. You know, San Gabriel mission.
Yeah. Those are hardcore.
Yeah. So they had to build a mission. Every Catholic school, Christian school does that, you know. The missions were great things and stuff. So they're reading in class, and they're like, the Christians came and they tamed all the savages, you know. So my son stands up, and he had just talked to an elder on Sunday, you know.
Whoa.
So he raises his hand. He said to them, you know the savage art that they're talking about? They're like, what? That's us. Wow. That's what they used to call us. Wow. We've been here. Wow. Got sent to the office. You know what I mean? So I have to go with the principal, meet with them. He was in a Catholic private school. And she's like, oh, your son rose up and said this. And I was like, well, it's true.
Right.
Well, maybe you should consider another school. I'm like, no, I'm paying you. You'll still keep coming here.
Wow.
When I stop paying, I'm sure you guys will have something to say. You know what I mean? But just that side of it that, you know, when you expose the truth, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's sometimes too much. That's a great example, because when I would be a little younger and more excited about talking to people about what I knew, they would turn away. They'd be like, dude, it's too deep.
Yeah, it's all in presentation, though. And if you could relate, you know what I mean? Like the same way, it's funny, even now, me being old, is that like, I could still walk and like talk to a teenager. Like, you get it? Man, and I hope I never lose that.
That's
like,
cool.
For reals, you know, and I could still go and talk to an elder, and I could still go, like, you know what I mean?
You're versatile. And I have a hard time with that. You know, I try to be loose, but, you know, they have I could see how I was when someone else was older, right? Like,
I'm definitely blessed with that. You know
cool.
what I mean? And another flip side of that, I think, is what happened with hip hop is that we got old and we became old people, dog.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do you mean? That's not that. I'm like, man, that's what they said when we were taking records and, like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you that same dude? Like,
yeah, that's exactly.
And don't get me wrong. Oh no, I'm a young guy. I'm all doing. No, I'm old. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But just that, like, understanding of
to be free with like, I know what you mean, because my son, he writes, but he doesn't write anything indigenous. He doesn't even, like, my older son doesn't even, like, well, he knows he's indigenous.
Oh, I was gonna say, he was raised in the culture?
He was, but I never forced him. I huevo. No, never.
Yeah, you know, when you say that, let me interrupt. It's crazy though. The flip side of that is that I grew up Catholic, and no, you're gonna go get up every morning, Sunday. You know what I mean? Like the flip side of it, we're like, oh, this is your culture. You know, we present it to you. Yeah. And the flip side for us was like, nah, you're gonna go. And, you know what I mean?
It was just forced, and I didn't want it. And now, as him being older, he references everything I taught him as a youth. Not like native, but the philosophy of it. No, dude, you're out of line, Dad, and I'm sorry, and I respect you, but that's a native, bro. Like, hey, yo te quiero, pero, you know, I'm 21 now, you know, and I go, oh, wow, that's an indigenous principle. Respect your elders. Things that he would never, like, wear as a badge, which I hoped he would. Yeah. But maybe in time, whenever.
It's instilled, though.
Yeah. It's definitely that. All of them have it. But, like, even, too, with my plant-based diet, I don't force all of I go, you're going to eat plant-based. No. If you want it, cool. If you want meat, cool. No, there's consequences, but it's there.
How long you been doing that for?
Plant-based? Yeah. I've been doing plant-based probably about, like, full plant-based, probably about, like, 7 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Man. And
you grow your own stuff or no?
No, I don't have the land to do that. But if I did, I would definitely go into it.
I'll put it up for myself, for my own personal gain. Any people got seeds? I need seeds, like real seeds. And the people that are out there that don't know about that, if you buy seeds from Home Depot, they're genetically modified. So essentially, for the most part, they're designed only to give you like one run of fruit or whatever,
and
vegetable, and then die. If you know any people or elders that have seeds, I kind of haven't been involved in that side of it. I was younger, so I don't have the same like connections that I did. But anyone listening out there and whatever, barter or however you want to, you know, but definitely interested. Instagram at OGHUSKEYRADIO, and then just let me know. But I'm definitely interested in anybody that has seeds. You know what I mean?
I think the time that we talked about in 2012 is exactly that mode, like getting into a more natural state. With my information that I gathered for over 20 years on our culture, I finally got to their food, like what they ate. And it all came with just like a prayer. Like I was looking at a painting once and I was like, I want to eat like them, right? And I said, oh, okay, so it's vegetarian, corn, beans, and squash. And I tried to survive off of that. It wasn't happening. It was not happening.
That's like, I think it's discipline though, right? More than anything.
No, it isn't.
No?
Here, let me explain why.
Let me get why, because I haven't tried it. I don't even.
So that's why once I figured out that it wasn't corns, beans, and squash, it wasn't. It was amaranth, spirulina, maca, cacao, and then I throw hemp in there just because it's a protein and people are all into proteins. But I throw hemp in there, and I believe that hemp was just proliferated all over the globe. I don't put it to one region. But it's hemp seed, so it's a protein. So I use it as a seed. All seeds have mineral. Minerals are metal, right? Iron, zinc, magnesium, copper. All these things are in our blood, right? So when you eat high, dense mineral foods, then you can survive off of corn, squash, and bean. You see?
Yeah.
Because your nutrition comes from maca, spirulina, cacao, hemp, and all the other things that
we need to get him on Malalani Superfoods.
Absolutely.
And then where did you learn about that? Just from, it put you on because of prayer, but then where did you learn everything else?
Watch. So I was talking to my homie once, right? And he was he's just a professor, knows a lot about the Mexica culture, and he's all, man, you're not a real Mexica, bro. And I was like, what? You're tripping, bro. Like, I was about to get into a debate with him. He's all, you don't even eat spirulina. And I was like, what's that? And he's all, man, the Mexica were the best spirulina growers, right? They farmed spirulina. Spirulina is a blue-green algae. It's high in mineral. It's the best absorbable protein. It oxygenates the blood. And it has tons of trace minerals, enzymes.
Can you buy that at retail right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where? Just without
Whole Foods, Sprouts. It's a health food that the Wasishus has taken over as theirs, right? But it comes from us. Those are our fucking medicines. And so I go buy some spirulina. Oh my God, that was a challenge because I was like, I was into protein powders and shit like that. I was into working out. So I felt like I could drink the worst shit ever. So I fucking get a tablespoon and put it into some water. And I start stirring. And it starts getting a little gooey. And then I start stirring it more. And I'm like, what the fuck? Fuck it. Boom. And I just went, ugh, like, oh my God. It was the worst taste ever. But that didn't, like, stop me from eating it. Because then I went, how could I eat it without tasting it? And so I put it in orange juice.
Oh, okay.
And then I blended it up instead of stirring it in the Vitamix. And so it spread into the orange juice. And I drank it. And I felt great that day. I felt great that day.
You were told that. Have you ever told anybody that? You're not real Mexica?
No, never.
Never.
No.
That's crazy, though. Like,
when
caught me, I'm like, man, that's crazy.
I think he was doing it jokingly because he knew that information and he knew that I didn't eat it.
I was joking too.
But yeah, and then so once I started ingesting it on a daily basis, I went, what else did they eat? And then I went right away to cacao because the Tlatoanis or the leaders had cacao, right? And cacao is high in magnesium, detoxifies. It's good for your organs and your blood, mainly your blood, right? Because of all the mineral, dense, dark mineral, right? And so once I started eating those two, like separate, like boom, boom, and I would drink it. One day I was looking, I was like, why would somebody go from Yucatan to Mexico, Tenochtitlan? And they had trade. Why? That's far. They don't have airplanes. They don't have cars. That's a fucking far-ass walk or run, whatever it is. Why? Spirulina. That's why. That's why. You eat spirulina, you'll know. You'll fucking go fucking 50 miles to go grab that.
Yeah.
And then the cacao, I started seeing improvement in my mental thoughts, my mood, and just overall health. Like, I started getting stronger. And then I went, why would somebody from Yucatan go to Peru? Maca root. I'll go fucking that far for maca root. And so I started putting these places together and the trade, and I went, well, why don't I just put it in one formula and make it easy for people to ingest?
Is that the smoothie company?
Yep.
Oh, what's the name of the smoothie company?
Malinali Superfoods. Right?
And best believe on your first serving, you're on a whole different planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
High dense mineral. It's high dense mineral. It's simple because, look, think about it. Inside the earth, there's a spinning core. Spinning, right? And so it sets shards of metal into the earth, right?
Mineral, where the minerals
where
are
the
derived
minerals
from,
are.
derived from.
Right. And so the abuelo said, why the fuck is that tree so big? How does it get? We can't eat the dirt, you know? But it's huge. What makes it so big? Trees eat mineral, bro. So, but how will we get it? Because we can't eat the dirt. The seeds. The seeds carry the mineral. Why? Because there's a tiny piece of mineral in that seed. So when that seed falls to the earth and it hits water, it creates a root. And that root starts seeking more mineral. So it's a little tiny bit of food inside that seed to nourish itself to get life and go back into the earth and start finding more and it goes up. That's how I feel the abuelos figured it out in mineral. But you got to think the abuelos have 26,000 years of documented history. So they've went through a lot of trial and error. Yeah, what happens after that? How long your show's been 20 years? How much experience do you have? Yeah. What happens? You don't get dumber. Yeah. You get smarter.
Even then, we were doing it like once a week or twice a week at some time point of it too. So even that, man, like it's funny when people are like, "Oh, content." I'm like, man, I have a lot of volume already, so it's not. We started filtering it out. You know what I mean? Or even people I've interviewed, it's like if you got something new, but if I have your history already, the history hasn't changed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, we're talking about that off there. It's like, yeah, you put out an album in '91, but I mean, I'm not trying to relive '91. Trying to keep going, you know?
Yeah, I like your approach, brother. And you're just an amazing person, bro, because you ask the right things, you know? Yeah. You never left that realm of just Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like that. You know, I grew up in the same place. You know, I grew up in.
Well, even with that, like, cause it's funny, like even separate ideals, but like one of my ideas I want to put out there too is like people get a little money and the idea is to leave the hood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, man, stay here. Let's buy it. Let's keep it here. Like, where are you going? Somewhere where like they don't want you there either. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like that's all it is. You know, quote gentrification. But on the flip side of it, like me, I'm like, well, you know, the gentrifiers are coming in and they're keeping up their houses. They're not out gangbanging. They're not, the crime's not, you know what I mean? Like, what side am I? Well, no, I'm here and I'm going to be here. Like,
that's all
I'm the LA native. Yeah. But like, do we lose that because we leave? You know what I mean?
I don't think so. No. I think
we lost the land, though. I mean, because we're
the way I look at it, you know, growing up in the early 90s, mid 90s was tough. That was a tough time for us being chavalitos. Because I don't know how many friends I lost.
Yeah.
I lost a young cat in elementary over stuff, you know. We come from a violent place. And so when you're turning around and you're looking everywhere and it's all violent and violent, all you want to do is leave. That's the way I felt. That's the way I felt. I'm a super sensitive person. When I lose, like I lost my dad at 9, I lost my grandmother at 10, and then I lost my grandfather at 12. Like these 3 people are, you know, one just boom, 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 boom. That's not the same of what I was explaining. But when I lost somebody that I knew that was only 14, it started fucking with me big time.
And it does.
Yeah,
it does.
It just, that's why I left. You know, but then my Malinali Superfood store is right where I grew up.
What area did you grow up in?
In Whittier Boulevard.
Oh, nice.
On Whittier. I'm on Whittier and Duncan.
Okay.
And I grew up on 4th and Vancouver, right in back of Garfield High School. So that's where I grew up. And I'm in that barrio, and I'm bringing back Malinali Superfoods to my grandmother who died at 55 from diabetes.
Damn.
Who didn't have to die, and my grandfather who didn't have to die, you know, because of, you know, bad eating habits or not knowing how to take care of them.
Even with that, like what's considered our culture food is bad. Well, bad, like, you know what I mean? Even if some of these old school places, like, it's funny because we don't even think about it, but even like, well, I don't want to say like a name or like, I'm not trying to put what is it, like a business on blast, but like some of them still use lard, like for the beans, dog. Like that's just bomb, but like, damn,
a lot of restaurants.
I'm like, I don't want to eat lard, dog. You know what I mean? Like, you start eating and you're like, oh, damn, dog. Like,
and you know why people eat lard? And at least I saw this doc, and people from Guatemala, right? People from Guatemala buy lard, and then they buy bean, and they're like, why do you do that? And they're like, well, the lard gives you the fat that you need, and I just add it to the beans.
I always thought it was a flavor.
Obviously, it does have flavor, but it also adds calorie. You know, for poor people who are starved out.
I never even thought of it on that level.
No,
dog.
Dude,
that's
adds,
fucking horrible. That's horrible, man.
No, you could cuss here. It's all horrible. We're free.
Yeah. I always thought, like, always growing up, I was like, oh, yeah, it's for flavor. It does give it the flavor, but damn, just so you could get full. Huh?
Menudo tastes good too, but it's the insides of a cow.
Yeah, that's damn. And I'm not gonna I still eat menudo at least once a month. It is what it is, you know what I mean?
I do too, man. I just take the meat out, you know. I just the hominy. I'm not that type of like vegetarian. Yeah. I'm from Mexican culture, indigenous culture, whatever you want to call it. I'm not that. I'm not a güero vegan. Yeah. But I've learned how to take care of my body and keep it so that I only eat once a day. I work out 4 times a week, and I'm on point with my kids.
Do you drink alcohol?
No, I stopped that completely.
How long?
Oh, that's been recent, 2 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I just didn't feel like that was for me. My grandfather was a massive alcoholic, but he wasn't abusive. He was a happy drunk. Yeah. Like when he got drunk, his wallet opened up and he was laughing and he was.
So then you were the grandkid running to get him a beer.
Yeah,
everybody
I
was
was.
racing shit.
I was.
It's old school shit.
I was.
Can they do that now with the way we live now?
Now with our gentrified East LA, it's like some widows be like, hey, this fucking little kid.
Child services. The grandkids are running with beers to give to their grandpa.
Yeah.
We could joke about it, but yeah. You know
I think that's why I created this platform, bro. I created LA Natives to tell the truth about our story. You know, not to convert people into natives, but to tell the truth about our story. People don't know that we're eating lard to add calorie to our meal because we're poor, right? People don't know that our grandfathers who came to Los Angeles busted their ass and got cheated on their check,
and still do to this day though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
like imagine everybody in the like Masatin was saying a story that my grandfather grew up in Los Angeles and he had he would go and all the raza that would go work on that building would meet after and eat dinner or whatever, have a beer, whatever it is, and they look at their check. And then everyone around them started saying, oh, well, I'm missing 5 hours. Oh, I'm missing 4 hours. And so they fucking jacked everybody, right? But then the only thing they had to be prideful was, but we built that building right there.
Damn.
The building's done.
Damn.
Our history is really strong and traumatic, though. Yeah. But I feel that once we get control of ourselves in whichever way, it doesn't have to be native. I chose to be this. I chose to be this. This is my expression. I didn't force my kids to do it. I didn't force anybody to do it. If you feel anything from me, I'm just your reflection, man. That's the way I did it.
The way I perceive it, because of hip hop had such of my upbringing, and because of hip hop, I actually started learning my culture because of hip hop. But I still use this term, is there's infinite elements of hip hop. So with that comes their subgenres. Like you might just be a subgenre.
Yeah.
But people be like, oh no, but that's Mexica hip hop. Where I'm like, nah, it's still hip hop.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as trap. Trap is hip hop.
Yeah.
Because they know it's not. Like, nah, it's hip hop.
Yeah.
Like,
is there a genre that's titled indigenous hip hop? Have you ever saw it like that? Because when I was a kid, I kind of said it automatically. And then, like, I heard other fans just come up with this, yo, do you listen to indigenous hip hop? Well,
I always knew it as that. I always, from growing up, because it wasn't, I guess it wasn't.
But no one,
yeah.
Did someone tell you the phrase?
I recall as like hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Or even like
I asked Zero this question, and Zero's like, well, I never considered myself an indigenous hip hop artist, but me as a fan,
not like in a genre.
No, there's a genre.
Yeah,
no, for real.
Hearing you guys talk about it, I was never privy to that conversation. Like
even when, remember they used to do the shows like at ELAC.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an indigenous show, but it's hip hop. Nah, that's just indigenous.
Yeah. Well, those shows I remember Quinto Sol, Calpuli. Like Calpuli was my first record, and then we released it at ELAC. Okay. In that indigenous show, and it was a hip hop record.
Yeah. But like I said, it earlier is like it's because I guess not you saying that is like maybe because they wouldn't play the clubs, or you know what I mean? Yeah. It was like so then
it
those
was a
shows,
baby. It was a baby. Those that perspective was a baby. It wasn't. Okay. It wasn't like.
Yeah, but growing up and seeing it, you know what I mean? Because I mean, I went to it. Even to this day, we still go to different shows. Like I'm not on that. You know what I mean? Oh no, that's just that. I mean.
Yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to music. I love everything. I'll go to a lot of things, that wasn't like, I listen to a lot of things that people don't even think. Like right now, tell me, you know me, right? Uh-huh. What do you think my favorite music is?
Well, you told me off there, so I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you said it was trap corridos.
There you go. See? Nobody knew that. Nobody knew that.
No, just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just put out. What's your favorite music?
Reggae.
Yeah.
Like I listen to reggae all day.
Yeah.
All day. I don't even listen to hip hop. I listen to reggae.
Old, new.
Yeah. Cali. I'm a really big Cali reggae fan.
But we're talking about that because I knew it was reggae too when we were talking after. But I was saying because you could tap in on reggae and it's good music.
Yeah.
And you said, you were telling me off there that you have people that still hit you up for your album. You're like,
yeah,
did you just drop it? And
yeah,
you're like,
young kids do that. Like one time I was vending malinali at a farmer's market. This kid comes up to me. He's like 19, right? He's like, dude, are you from El Vuh? And I was like, yeah. Mom, how old are you? It's already like been, I think it was really recent, like about a year ago. So 2019 or maybe 2018. And then so I go, how did you hear our music, bro? You must have been like, he's like, YouTube. Like YouTube. You just released it, right? I was like, what? No. That's like super old. He's like, what?
Trip out. Yeah, but like, and I had told you, is that good music you could tap in on any level and it's not dated.
when I look back at that album, I look back at what we were doing. And what we were doing was going to sweat lodges and meeting elders.
Do you still do sweat lodge?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Well, with COVID, for 2 years I haven't. But that's what we have to do as indigenous people. It's not church. You have to carry that ceremony. When you experience that ceremony and you come out of that, the ceremony's over, but you got to carry it with you because you don't know when it's going to happen again. You know? You can't go, oh yeah, next Sunday I'll see you at the sweat. Nah, that's the way those medicines are, you know? And I've learned to deal with that being a survivor of genocide, being an indigenous individual who can't tell you where his tribe is from, but can make you feel like, whoa, who is this dude? Where is he from? Who is his people? I get that all the time. I could be standing outside and say, hey, bro, are you native? You know? Yeah. Some white lady asked me, hey, are you native? I was like, yeah. She's all, what tribe? Second question, what tribe? I don't know. You don't know? I said, no. And she kind of looked puzzled. And I went, you think they organized us? And said, hey, all the guys over here line up. And what's your name, son? You know, they threw you in a train. And they just, where are you going? It was horrible. I'm not here to bash white people. I'm here to tell the truth.
Yeah, no, I think that's the easy way out. You know, oh no, this like nah, man, y'all, not y'all, but it was done. Let me say, because you say, oh, y'all did it, you know, but no, you didn't do it. No, you didn't physically. You know, that's the whole thing, the whole argument now, and it's like
it wasn't me.
Yeah, but it was done. It was done though. Like, yeah, it wasn't. But you know, you definitely got the benefits of it.
Well, it absolutely. There's documentation.
Like,
okay, a lot of people don't realize when the U.S. wanted to expand homes, they created red districts.
Yeah, that's recent. That's recent too. Yeah.
Well, it actually goes back to like the 60s and 50s.
No, but they still do it now.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. I'm sure they do. Nothing about. I don't believe the marketing scheme that racism no longer exists. That's a marketing scheme. Like, what do you mean, guys? Like, where it's all fair. Don't
Okay, and just for that, then why, when you fill out paperwork, do they ask your race?
Why?
Because if you go for a job, if you go for school, then if it doesn't matter, if we're living in a society where it doesn't matter, then the first thing is like, why do you need to know that?
Because it goes towards the census. The census is the most important document that all the nation will have because it documents who's here.
Because they could track you and know where you're at all.
Well, it tells you, wow, look, wow, damn, those Mexicans are growing. You know, those, so-and-sos, whatever. Oh, look at the Asian population's booming. Like, we willingly give information to people who are oppressing us on purpose. You know,
why? Because the law.
We feel comfortable with it. We feel safe, or we don't even question it. You know, we don't even question it. Oh, I gotta fill this out off. Okay.
Yeah, because you got to figure you're giving it to the same people that red district the zones. They just need to know, like, oh, look, they're getting a little bit too big right here. Right. Oh, let's cut this part out of it. You know what I mean? You can't let nobody else buy in this area.
Absolutely.
Okay, because let me.
Because have you ever not done your census? Huh? They'll send like fucking 5 people.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Hey, can you fill out your census? Like, fuck, what the fuck is this? You know, I don't want to fill it out, so I didn't fill it out.
When we say it's not stopping you from buying, like with the red lining district, I'm not saying that they're gonna stop you, but like if you're going to get a loan, your loan's not going to go through.
Yeah, especially if
and why do they need to know where the house is going to be? Yeah, like, because it's that redlining district, and it does exist. Like,
that's where white people don't, or people who are defending, like,
don't say white people though. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Oh, let me make you clear. On this show, white people means someone who disrespects the earth, disrespects the water, disrespects the air, and has no control over the fire that's naturally there. Those are Eastern European elites, monarchs. That's what we mean when we say white people. So they kind of know that, but now you do. Yeah. So,
it's in no way affiliated with OGHUSKEYRADIO.com or any of its affiliates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do say that in a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, I don't have a. They don't have a shame. They don't shame like, oh, you nigger, you fucking spick. They don't listen to their police officers. You know, there was a recent politician that said this black community was saying it was said in the newspaper, and the fucking guy, the politician, interrupts the man and says, by the results of your school's test scores, I don't think your kids could read the newspaper. So why are you saying this? You know, racism is in full effect.
Yeah, just even in the school, like, man, even that LA, well, it is LAUSD, it is what it is, but like, you could go online and you could get the scores of your school, man, and like, man, if that doesn't like make you think that you got to do something different, I don't know, like, just start there. Like, that's all I could tell you, like, because where I'm at, it's like one of the, everybody's familiar with the area I'm at. Most people been to the spot anyways to get interviewed, but that school in that area is like the lowest performing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's like for years though.
Yeah.
For years.
I'll tell you why. Because when Rockefeller and the Carnegies started making endowments, they were putting their money on the education of America, right? So they were going to limit what people knew and what was important and what wasn't important. Now, that was back then. But each year after, it started getting less. Well, they don't even know about that. Well, they don't even know about that. And now you got your result of your school where it's like, wow, who gives a shit as long as they show up.
Yeah. And because it's like, and then even then, as long as they show up, because you get federal money, No Child Left Behind just means that you pass.
Yeah.
Because they want to get the money. And they know,
and then next.
Standardized testing, I guess, too. You could look that up, too. Look up the standardized testing of the specific school in your area. Like, especially if you live in the East LA area, like, just get that information, you know what I mean? Like, start there, and then, like, if you think that it's not a systematic problem, you know what I mean?
That's my whole point of this show, is that we're pointing out that it's never been in our favor. And if we act like it has, then we're stumbling on our own feet here. At that point, we're stumbling on our own feet, I think. What do you think?
The same. I just along the lines of that, we, in presentation, like, to get people, like I said, you just look up, it has to be something that affects them. Like, if you have children and schooling, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or I guess now more so you can, it's not easier, but there's ways of getting money for college back in the days that didn't exist. But, like, we got to, like, capitalize, and not just because of college, but just because of education. I firmly believe in, like, education will put you farther just in the way of thinking. Because how can I put it? Because I went to...
So you believe in the school systems and in colleges?
Yeah, in the sense of this, though. Because I know about colonialism, I know about Christianity, because I went to the schools. So I did their studies. But did they give me knowledge of self, of my own history? No. Yeah. So then, but because I studied that, I could understand it more.
Got it.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know that's a great way of going to school. Yeah, that's what I told my son. I told my son when he went to the University of San Francisco, I go, Olin, don't go there to try to find something to do. They're not going to teach you anything. But what you will learn is how to make a mistake. You'll learn how to recover. You'll learn how to be on time. You'll learn how to write a paper. You'll learn how to do things that are going to be beneficial to you, but don't expect them to teach you anything.
Yeah. And then even on that, especially like with technology, my sons are in their 20s, and when they were in high school, they were already they didn't have no textbooks. They were doing everything off an iPad. Wow. This is like what 6 years ago, and you know, some of these schools still have textbooks. Like, but you're not fixing any of the text. You're not changing anything in those. And it's the same textbooks. Like,
it's not meant for us. It's not meant for us to understand, and that's okay. Yeah. I actually prefer it that way because I want the shit to be shitty so that I could go, no, mijo, come here. Let me read you something. Let me show you something. Because that's real teaching.
Yes, but we still have to survive within that world.
Absolutely.
Know what I mean? So
absolutely.
like because if for a while, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I totally like disconnected like TV, and I did for like a year, and I just lost connect with people I cared about. You know what I mean? And not just that, but like even doing the interviews, there were references I had no clue. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I'm being selfish though, because like this is something I truly believe in, and I do bring people together, and I do bring genres together. I do what I do, and I'm like, I have to do that because I can't be disconnected from that. And like I said, that's another, I don't want to say success, because success is whatever you want to call it, but longevity. I definitely done a lot in Los Angeles hip hop. Well, not just me, you know, with Detail, Top Rank, Beardo, like the
What's
squad.
What's your favorite interviews? I know you have a few. I don't want to say what's your favorite interview. Like who did you enjoy talking to on your show?
I'll tell you, like one of the I have tons, but I think more of the graffiti artists, because to me, from what I've read, and I always say that in my interviews, is that like you get to experience the city way different, dude, when you're out there at like 3-4 in the morning, or you have to conduct yourself in a certain way. Yes, you're out there beautifying the city. You know, always gotta put everything, you know, but even if you're out there like beautifying the city, you still have to conduct yourself where you still got to navigate through LA, and there's like people that just can't do that. So from reading about it, I know what they go through. So I'm like, man, like I know what you went to get that spot, like, you know what I mean? And where you went through, like when you experience it differently, or you're somewhere and that sun's coming up, like people are asleep, you know what I mean? Like that's to me, like, and even just think about it, like the sun coming up.
I always wondered. Sometimes, I mean, I have a lot of very good friends who are pretty good graffiti artists, and they like.
They're just artists. We don't use the term graffiti.
Oh, whatever. Artists. See, that's how much I know.
No, we just don't.
Yeah, artists. There's a lot of artists that I know that they have done that, and like I'm driving around city going, how the fuck they do that one? Like, they must have been like what, like.
No, they're not giving too much away. You just look in the archives. Some people give some. Not everybody gives everything, but you know. As with anything else, you know, they study. They come the day before. You know, it's not, you know.
Yeah.
So those scouting, are scouting pretty much. But like one of the interviews I did, I interviewed Freeway Ricky, Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross.
Whoa.
This was before he wrote the book. This was before the documentary. Actually, we used to record right there on Whittier and Hendricks at a tattoo shop right there, and we used to do the interviews right there. And he came in, and I interviewed him, and one of the things that I learned, which it came out in the video and the books or whatever that he did, is that he learned how to read and write in jail. Yeah, and then he became his own lawyer because he learned how to read and write.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that video, somehow YouTube deleted it. And then I had it, and I reached out to back in the day at that time, and I was like, hey, man, I don't even care. I just need you to put this video out because they're not letting me upload it. You know what I mean? And I told people what it was, and like, it's funny, you know, not funny, but they're just like, nah, we ain't touching that, dog. We're not going nowhere near that, whatever. Yeah. And that video, like, never, like, it got released, and it, anytime I would try to upload it, they would take it down. It would get flagged. And
really? Even if you did, like, titled it different, or you did everything, huh?
Yeah, dude. So, like,
how do they know?
That's not for me to decide. You know, I'm just saying, but that was one of
you know,
experiences.
Freeway Ricky had a big part in a lot of, you know, bad things that a government
and good things.
And good things. No, but what I mean is like the beginning of it, and who brought it to him, and
I think he has a book. I know they did the documentary is really good, but I know he wrote a book. Anyone in LA, man, I'll tell you right now though. If you grew up late 80s, early 90s, and you saw because right now it's a pandemic we're going through, but the epidemic of what drugs were back then, oh, man, and you go back and you trace it through what his involvement or how it was funneled or whatever through him, man, that, like I'm saying, just look into that, and, man, like how many people you lost or how many, like, family members still strung out, you know, from that, and like I said, where it came from and was actually involved.
Yeah. No, I remember growing up, and a lot of homies all of a sudden were, they're turned up. You know, they're like on another level.
Because it's funny though, we especially in hip hop, we always like brag about or we glorify the drug dealers, But like, well, no, I take it back. Now I guess the drug addicts get fame, right? I guess it finally I take that back, but like they were glorified, the drug deal. I'm like, damn, you ruining people's lives, like, you know what I mean? Like,
did you ever have a problem with hip hop being that way?
No, kind of, because I'm fortunate to go like really, really early. I have older brothers, so and this LA stuff, like LA mini trucks. You remember the LA mini? People had mini trucks. Yeah. And then people, disco was a thing. Not the 70s disco, that 80s freestyle.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of disco thing. Like, that's LA. Like, for real, as much as you want to be all tough and everybody wears Cortez now. And all that. Them older dudes weren't wearing that stuff, dog. They had the feathered hair in the back and all that stuff. But what I'm getting at is that, so that when hip-hop started hitting LA, I had older brothers. So I was able to, I would hear all of it. One of the things is my older brother, he had his prized possession is he had all Too Short's albums, like from the original Born to Mac, which is the white cassette deck with him in the drop top. And, he had every single 2 Live Crew cassette.
Wow.
And when hip hop started blowing up, he gave me his prized possessions. Wow. He's like, I'm giving these to you, And what's funny, though, is because he started listening to reggae. And he gave it to me, dude. And he was just like, yeah, this is never going to be the same. It's done, I was like, nah, this is just getting good, you know what I mean? But he walked away from it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are my prized possessions, you know what I mean? So then I kind of had, growing up in it, I didn't really see, how can I say it? I didn't really see it, but like, Too Short, neighborhood drug dealing, prostitution, whatever. Like, to me, I was like, yeah, that's right here. Look outside, the neighbors dipped out on a free-roll. She's running through the projects naked again. You know what I mean? Like, and we joke about that, but like, yeah, that was childhood. Like, oh yeah, everybody go inside because the neighbors are high again. You know what I mean? Or like,
yeah, it's kind of hard not to relate.
Yeah. So then when you realize where all that came from, like, but to me at that time, I was like, oh yeah, that's everybody's growing up like this. Yeah. It kind of like normalized the insanity and stuff, but it's not normal. Like, that's one of the things people like. And then once you get the bigger understanding of it, like, I always question stuff. Ever since I always got in trouble, like just questioning everything. And that's one of the things. My mom, she was born and raised. So what it is, super Catholic, super Christian. Like, man, and I always question everything, Finally is, I'm older and I talk to her, and she's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, we're just taught never to ask nothing. Like, you don't ask nothing. Hey, if you ask, like, who are you to ask? Right. Like, to question anything, And she goes, but I see where like that's helped you, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, because for a while, like, I don't want to say that we like fell off, but like we weren't as close, you know what I mean? Because of that, like. I just the Christianity and Catholicism, you know what I mean? Or like, oh, you're a hypocrite. You're sending your kids to private school. I'm like, damn, you ain't seen the numbers of these schools right here.
Yeah,
like,
I know. And then
like,
the danger.
Like, yeah, no, I'm like,
the danger of it.
Nah,
too.
You know what I mean?
I remember when my son, he wanted to go to Torres. Right here. And I was like, hey, bro, you sure? Because I had him in Anahuacan Mecca.
Okay.
And I know Anahuacan Mecca, okay, it's not a big-ass school where, a lot of...
But even with the distractions, because he was in that controlled, not controlled, that's, I guess the controlled environment in the sense of it's not...
Yeah, it's very strict there.
Yeah, and there's not as many distractions. And I think that's the thing, because you always, the flip side of people always say, like, well, if you really want to, you could do it. Yeah, if you really want to, though, or let's just go, same thing, then go back to the graduating rate.
Right.
Go back to how many out of this school compared to this school go to university, 4 years universities. How many of these kids don't even graduate, you know what I mean? Or, graduation, and I'm not saying nothing that's like crazy or insane, but you could graduate high school like with the 8th grade reading level.
Damn. Like,
seriously, like, you're graduating high, like, you're gonna go on and you're gonna be a responsible adult, taking care of, but with the 8th grade reading level, like, it's pretty. And that's not like shitting on nobody, putting it down, but I'm just like, what they use to like stall us from like getting to where we need to go.
Right.
It's definitely systematic.
Of course. I mean, here's the biggest apparent, like what you just described, is older people on cell phones. They don't even know how to do anything on it. Like, you're talking about reading.
Yeah.
It's already left reading.
Yeah.
Now it's on a cell phone. Like, all your information, all your news, everything is on a cell phone. And my mother-in-law comes up to me all the time. It's like, hey, how do you do this? Like, she's like super lost. Like, here, give it to me. It's like boom, 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 real quick. And it's like, but for her, it's so... I understand, like, that reading and getting that education or whatever. I feel like life is an experience. And whatever experience your mother or father could put you in, good or bad, will result in who you're going to become.
And then even with that, my mom, single mother, put us all through private school, dog. And she worked, man. She worked her ass off, dog. Like straight up, like. So like to me, for me to like, I got a 9 to 5 where it provides. I'm not starving, dog. I'm good. But I was able to get that because of the education, and so I saw that and I appreciate that.
And it also developed you intellectually, I would imagine.
You know what? And here's another thing though, is that like I read more books when I got out of high school than I did in high school, dog.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just nothing really caught my eye. And then once I started like learning, I guess that's knowledge of self. I just like my history, and I was like, man, this doesn't add up, but it does type. You know what I mean? That's why in that environment, and like I said, I always thought differently, because growing up, I understand that we're like, nah, you're just trying to survive. Like, you know what I mean? You ain't got time to sit there and think about philosophy, and you know what I mean? Or like, what is it now? Is the earth flat? Is the earth? Hey, some kid in the hood right now ain't worried about that, man. Like, at all, dude. Like,
but they do that all the time. Like that whole earth's flat or pandemic or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's something you can't disprove, and only people who have authority can put a voice.
Yeah, that's like the biggest, I think, control though too, because man, just something as simple as like, I can't eat dinner inside right here, but I could go 10 miles down the road and eat it. Like you know what I mean? Or I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's a whole nother, people, what is it? Conspiracy theory or nothing, but just like, I guess for any situation, just take a step back and look at it. Like,
well, here's the thing I have about conspiracy theory. Like in the early 80s, they came up with that term. I think it was in the early 80s when individuals started coming out with truth. They labeled it conspiracy. What do you mean? It's almost like a narcissistic approach of like dealing with the masses, because you're going, well, I'm PhD so-and-so from this university, and I say this, and you're saying some stupid shit. Like, like it's almost narcissistic where you're a conspiracy, and then you start thinking, well, whoa, am I? Maybe I am. Maybe this isn't true.
Yeah, but it is. That goes back to like, why are you asking that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who are you to ask that?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the control or the authoritarian position will reign. You know what I mean?
But it's always been that way for indigenous people. We cannot. You know what frustrates me is that sometimes people feel like, well, it's not like that now. It is very like that now.
It's in front of you. I think, from my personal view, is that it's a way of thinking. The hardest thing you could ever do to anybody is to change the way of thinking.
Yeah,
because it's like programmed. So like, if you have even 100 years or more, even 50 years there, you already lost your identity. Man, that's gonna be a while to get back. Yeah. Like, because it took you 50 years. You know what I mean?
No, it's the same thing with losing weight. I was 270. It took me 5 years to get there. It's taking me 5 years not to be there. It's just, but it takes that much work, and that's why I tell people when they ask me, because ever since your interview, people have hit me with like some good questions, right? And they're like, I tell them, look, the journey I'm on is a 500-year journey.
Yeah,
I don't expect to see anything other than my own results.
To relate that back to hip hop is like, I'm not in competition with nobody either. Like, I don't view it as that. Like, oh, I'm the new blogger. I'm whatever. I'm a blogger. And no offense, I seen him put his fist up and shit. Now we are here at Underground Hip Hop Blog. That's fine. But like, I see different people coming in. I interview them. I bring them onto my show the same way you do. I'm like, nah, come on, dude. I want you to promote it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm telling you, and then that's the reason why I don't show my face either. Because to me, no one man is bigger than the revolution. Like, it could stop with me, and like, you don't know who I am.
Yeah, and that's my approach too. Is that I have no answers. I know things, and I think my biggest strength is collectively bringing things together. Just because of the work I've done in my music, what my music says, and whoever knows me, have I changed from the time you've interviewed me?
No,
I'm the same dude. I'm the same guy, because I love my people. I love them on a level that's like just personal for me. You don't have to love your people like I love my people. But somehow, some way, somebody planted a seed in me that made me love my people so much that I feel, I mean, I just have this certain feeling about them. And that's what motivates the show, motivates my music, and motivates me to tell the truth.
Straight up.
That's my road, you know? And I've always liked your road because, like, I love your style of interview, bro.
Oh, good looking out. I appreciate it. And like I said, I just do it as what I think people would ask. I don't get on there and be like, oh, this, or I did this or that. Like, I might know you from going to a show. I might even know you from booking you on a show, like a performance, or like even early back in the days, like when we first started up, like our headliner was Omeka.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's Project Blowed. I'm like, man, she could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nah, dog. Like, there's other ways. There's ways of doing it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's not as like an underlying motive or anything. But the bigger thing, I think, looking at it is it's a lifestyle. Like, this is how I live my life. I'm not, from what you see right here, ain't too much different. I might work a gang hours, not do it as much as I want to.
Right.
And I think that was kind of like, that was a curse on me because I've been doing it for so many years, and I would run into people or they would hit me up like, it is what it is. They stopped doing it. They fell off. They stopped doing anything. And then like 4 years later, they're coming back like, I just got a divorce. I'm going to drop an album. And I'm like, yeah, dog, you want to listen to it? I want you to hear it. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is dated. Like, it's not going to do anything. What?
Wow.
You're being a hater. I'm like, nah, dog, like you left. Like this thing has changed so much when you left. I'm like, well, what happened? Oh, it's because I got married. I got a job. And I'm like, I got a job? I'm married? Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean?
No
like,
remorse.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean? We're still doing it. But with the pandemic, dude, like the curse, like everything comes back and kick you in the ass, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm working like 9 to 9.
Wow.
9 to 10, 9 to 11.
Wow.
Like 9 in the morning to 11 at night.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, I was like, fool, I'm that, because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always looked at like, what do you mean a job?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
nah.
yeah.
And when I started working like that, because even that, we took like, what, 8 months? 6 months, 8 months off. But because I have so much content, and then what I'll do is we do a mobile thing now. So you have an event, I could actually interview at your event. So what I'll do now is, and I'm gonna tell everybody, like, it's not like you could use it, is go to a show. You could probably get everybody on that lineup. They're going to come sit down and talk to you, right?
Absolutely.
You got so much content. Well, now you control when you put it out. So I might like be putting something out that's like 6, 7 months old.
That's good though.
But I'm putting it out, and then I'm still being consistent.
You know what?
I mean?
That's the same approach that musicians take. Is that they just record. I have songs and beats that are 20 years old. You know, and
will you put them out? Will you, or just you're just
no? Dude, when the MCs come, I show them beats, and they're like, "Damn, that's a banger, that's a dope." It's 20 years old.
Trip out.
Because I felt like when I was making beats, that there were time periods in my life, like my emotional. You start getting in a groove, and you start looking for records that you're sampling, and it almost starts to become the same thing.
Yeah.
So I felt like, no, this is gonna trap me into this. Like, I need to stop. And then I would stop and then come again.
That's crazy.
Because global pandemic sounds nothing like what El Vuh. Don Juan Mathis, none of that sounds like El Vuh. But it has that El Vuh essence. But I look at painters like when Leonardo da Vinci's like, oh, that's his blue period. That's his red period. That's the way I feel my music is.
Trip out.
I like to relate my music to visual artists, painters. Painters are my biggest inspiration to write music.
Trip out. I remember doing this for 3 years. It was this guy's birthday party. So then he would get us to DJ, and he had the same headliner like the first year, the second year. And the second year I asked the headliner, I'm like, hey, so how does this work? This dude just does it once a year? Like, and he's like, well, yeah, it's his birthday party. Right? I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. Like, so it was like for sure money, you know? Dude, when the third year came, I'm sorry, it was the second year. So the third year came, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I knew the headliner, you know, and he's like, man, what's up, man? Why aren't you doing it? I'm like, I'm not trying to get caught up doing the same thing every year. Like, but to him, it was cool because it was like money, you know what I mean? But I'm like, it's not going to help me.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather go do something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you talking about? You're walking away from money? I'm like, I can make money. Like, but I just don't want to, like, I just picture now I'd still be DJing that one party every year, dog. Like,
when it comes to your art and what you want to be remembered for, it's like infinite chances. That's the way I look at it. That's why I do things in periods, or sections of time. You know, I know when it's over. I know when it starts sounding too redundant. Like, I need to like take a break and go into different inspirations, different type of things.
The flip side of that for me is that usually ahead, like, of the curve, I don't chase trends per se. So like, I might get somebody, and then maybe a year later, then they quote unquote blow up or whatever. But I don't look at that. I'm looking more at like talent. At the time you off there, like, one of the biggest things for me is like to see an MC perform. Like, I don't know, that will always get you ahead of, like, you know, the guy who has whatever views or nothing. Like, if I see you perform, like, you can move the crowd, like, just that essence of it. Like, I would rather interview that person.
That's the way I feel about social media, right? Like, that this social media artist that has, I don't know, maybe 200,000-300,000 followers, they got famous from this 15-second clip that people just kept sharing and sharing. And then when it came time to actually do a song or perform a song, or it doesn't do very well.
Well, how I see it, you know, you have to show showmanship when you perform live, you know?
Yeah.
I've hosted plenty of events, man, and right up, so you could completely tell.
Yeah. Well, even with that, like, because, or even like, you have that many followers and I go to your show and there's nobody there. Like,
it doesn't translate.
It doesn't translate, bro. And it's like, granted, my social numbers ain't the greatest, you know what I mean? But I could tell you right now, anything in LA and the surrounding areas, we'll bang out. Like, I know for sure. Like, I'm
last couple weeks, it was like fucking.
Now look, I got two artists performing. We got Flea Lord, who's not verified, right? And then we have Kool Keith, who's not verified. Like, this whole blue checkmark society that we live in is fucking things up.
And then, could you say that? So, like, people not in the know, you gotta understand is, like, especially if you're an artist and you're asking for, like, this headliner money, you know what I mean? Because you have those followers or whatever. The promoter's going in there, like, using your name, like, this is the guy I'm bringing in, and they're looking at it like, oh, he's not verified, he doesn't have this, you know what I mean? And this is what the promoter has to deal with. Like, nah, dude, like, I know what I'm booking, you know? So as artists, like, just be aware of that. Like, that you need that presence if you're going to do this.
Like, so many cats come at me, you know, because I run a page, a hip hop promotion page, and they always throw that blue check mark bullshit at me.
Trip out.
And it's becoming toxic to the point where it's overwhelming them because they know the gig is up when they go and perform live.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I completely 100% agree with you. My number one priority is the only way to get up in life in the hip hop game is to perform. Yeah. Like I'm so glad that you're here because verbatim, I'm the same person as you, bro. When it comes to showing showmanship at these events and performing live in front of a crowd, man. And like for me, it's like, man, you can't fuck with the concert goer.
Yeah,
because someone that pays a ticket.
Yeah.
You know,
that reminds me of, like, you know, when I went to Mexico City on 2012 at the Day of the Dead, and I played at the Zócalo and no one knew who I was. The only thing I had to rely on was how I performed. Because no one in that crowd knew me. And they were already pissed because I was late. And so in Mexico City, when you're late, they start throwing things at the stage, and they're all. I just heard the crowd. And like, boom. And then they were there to see Maldita Vecindad, so they're already Maldita, right? And then so fucking my homie goes, "Get off! You gotta walk to the stage, and we're not gonna get through this. So go." And so I get my suitcase and I go, "Okay, cool." Start walking to the stage. Fucking guy, get to the stage, he's like, Zero? Okay, cool, vámonos. And then he fucking points to this, like,
you're going on stage.
You're going out now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, shit, and grab my CD. I go, here's my CD. He's all, CD? ¿Qué CD? ¿Qué es eso? ¿No traes DJ? ¿Dónde está tu DJ? And the fucking visual guy grabs my CD and puts it into the DVD player and presses play. This is all happening. I have to prove myself in front of 10,000 people.
They're already late, yeah.
They're already late, right? And then stop the music. And I hit him with a Tlasoka Matli, Tetzcalipoca, en la noche, yo salgo. After that,
got him.
My fucking went just, it had to be, that's the only thing I had. It wasn't like I had a big video.
How many, super after famous. After that show, how many more followers did you get?
I got like 1,000, dude. I got like 1,000.
That's what it like is now. You know what I mean? Like, that's a trip. I mean,
I don't care how many. I don't really, I look at it and I don't try to get caught up in it. I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, like, that's the same. I talk to everybody. It's just my thing, man. I enjoy like people's ideas or perspectives, and I'm able to, like I said, I'm blessed to navigate that where most people can't. So most people that pretty much in that late, you probably talk to me, you know what I mean? Or if not, like even someone seeking an interview, you probably know somebody that knows me and done it. So I'm fortunate in that level, like longevity wise, where I try not to follow the numbers, you know what I mean? I try not to, but then even like, I got a buddy who's like, what is it? A YouTuber? Is that what you would call it or whatever? Yeah, he's a YouTuber, I guess.
Oh, shit.
So he's putting me up on like what time to release it, and edit this and doing that. And I'm just like, I don't really have time like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can't wait for that specific hour to do it. It's going to get uploaded probably like in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Because that's when the kids, especially now with the quote unquote pandemic, is like, that's when nobody's using the Wi-Fi and I could upload it, you know what I mean?
Right, because it takes a lot of time and
So, but like, it's just different on that level. But I try not to, but to say I'm not totally, I'll be lying. But I mean, for the most part, it don't really. And because of the pandemic, like I said, wasn't out there at shows, and that's pretty much. But it's coming back. It's, you know what I mean? We got Flea Lord. Damn,
we got Flea Lord coming up, Lord Mob. We have the LA Natives event coming up June 25th. Hopefully everyone could come out. You know, we got cats flying in. We got fans flying in. It's crazy,
bro.
Event,
like
man.
This event went bonkers in my opinion.
It did. A lot of people shared that video, Zero.
Yeah.
A lot of people shared that video.
Yeah. And we got controversy from it a little.
What's the concontroversy?
I knew you were going to
well, there is no controversy.
No, you said there was controversy. I heard you say.
Okay.
So detail. He said controversy.
Here's what happened is that obviously the name LA Natives offended somebody in the sense that I didn't recognize that Los Angeles natives are Tongvas. Okay. We are on Tongva land, and I respect all natives. This is the platform where all natives can have their voice. Tongvas, Lakotas, Hopis, Mexicans, South Central. But
not from East LA, dog.
Since day one, by the way.
I never
But since day one, right, Zero, this platform is for
has everyone. Always been for that.
Yeah, cause that, and then that goes back to, remember when I said the name, does it pigeonhole, or like does
it doesn't pigeon. I don't feel like I felt like that question was more like, oh, are you just going to be sticking to natives in LA? No, it's a global thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
80% of our interviews are people from a different state or different country.
Yeah. And then we plan to take tours and things outside of Los Angeles, but this is our banner. This is our flag.
And it's been able to take us to places. We just recently collabed with the International Indigenous Hip Hop Award Show for annual, and we were not only invited to that, but we did the red carpet VIP interviews, and Zero performed. So there's a whole new wave of like digital media supporting, quote unquote, the genre now of indigenous hip hop.
Do you see it as that like that? Like, will the person going to the indigenous concert be at the Kool Keith concert?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, see, that's it. No, but say your side. Say your side. Yeah, see, that's what I'm on to see.
Realistically, no. But my role is to be able to utilize the experience that I have in the hip hop side and do whatever I can to propel the indigenous hip hop community.
I'll disagree with you, because I'm one of those people that I'll go and for who was that? Waka Flocka back in the day at the observatory. Like, I'll be at all those. Like, I just like music. So once you start, like, stop thinking like that, like, not that it's a bad thing, but like, nah, dude, it's a good show, and we could put it on against any other show.
Yeah,
it is.
But I'm the same way as well. Like, I'm I'm so realistic. Like maybe they might not come out.
Okay.
But I would want them to come out.
Yeah.
You know, because I know I'm going to come out. I love both genres, or I love all kinds of music.
At the height of you guys both know that, like at the height of pay to play in LA, it was really, really bad. Like really, really bad.
Right.
Because I've been doing this so long, I would go to shows and I knew all the artists. So once I started like looking at the artists, I'm like, that's an artist, that's an artist. He's gonna go on. He's going on. He's going on. There was like no fans there.
Yeah.
So then when like all the shout out to Pause One, all the bashing came in of like pay to play. I was like, yeah, it is true. You know what I mean? Like, but I guess someone on outside coming in like, look, they have a packed house. I'm like, yeah, when you book 30 acts, you're gonna have 30 people there. You know
Olmeca told me that. Like, he's like, oh, you're like, because when I wrote my mixtape, I kind of went to like small promoters just to kind of like, I heard Chris Rock say, when I write new material, I go to a small club, and instead of bombing in front of a big club, I'll just bomb in front of a small club.
Yeah.
So when I wrote my mixtape and I wanted to come out as a solo artist, I didn't want to go like try to do it on a big stage, even though I did in Mexico City. But when I came back, I went to small promoters, and they were surprised. They're like, what the fuck, you? And I was like, yeah, I want to play. Is that cool? And they're like, fuck yeah. And they let me play. But there wasn't that many people there, and nobody really knew me. But the most favorite comment, and that's how I tested my material.
Okay.
And then the comments would come, and then I would see 4 or 5 people come for me and just be like fucking all into it. And I kind of went, okay, this is good music. I'll be able to put this out in a certain, when it's time. And I haven't put it out. It's kind of sitting there. It's in hard copy, but I've never uploaded to Spotify. It's perfectly relevant for this time.
And why not? Why not?
I wanna create with LA natives a community, and then after June 25th, then I'll upload it maybe to Spotify. But I want it right now, since social media, and it's like almost having rarities. These little, oh look, I got it before it was up on Spotify. That kind of a thing. I don't want it to be just another TikTok thing. You know what I mean? Like, I love my art. I really love it, and I put a lot of effort and time into it. I'm not one of those rappers that says, oh, I wrote this in 5 minutes. I'm not that guy.
I don't write my verses.
No, I take a long time because I want a masterpiece. I want someone to hear my lyrics and go, what the fuck?
Has there ever been a track you put out and then you didn't like it, or like you pulled it?
Jaguar Prophecies.
Yeah.
I felt like my lyrics sucked on that, like the beats. And then, that's just your own internal judgment of your own art. But I felt like Heavy was the worst verse I've ever written. Heavy is like Mexica's the day will come. And I felt like, oh, that's so amateur. God, nah, I'm never.
So you pulled it, or
no? I still did it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm saying, but you still have it out available, or
yeah. Well, I mean, Jaguar Prophecies is like the classic album that everybody goes to. But what I'm trying to say is that when I wrote that song, I felt like it was the worst thing I've ever written. But that's all I had, so I had to go, because I was MCing with 2 other MCs. They had their verse done. So I just needed mine, and I'm engineering, mixing. I'm doing more than just, rapping on it. So when it came to my verse, I was just like driving in a car, and then I pull over and I write, Mexica's the day will come. And I went, oh, that sounds... And then I just went into it, and in little blocks and pieces, I put it together, and I was like, oh man, this thing sucks. I didn't even want to put this out, And it ends up being our anthem.
Usually how
which
it
is
works.
a trip. It ends up being our anthem for El Vuh. And that just made me stop judging myself. And then I think my lyrics became better. I felt like my lyrics grew a little.
Yeah, I just did a promo right now in front of the underground hip hop blog sign that I'm gonna drop a verse.
There it is.
I just see everybody doing it. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? We try to put on as many cats as we can, and we pride ourselves on booking cats from out of state, even out of the country. Do
you get them when they're like? Because I've even had people hit me up when they're like vacationing, like
yes.
That's crazy, huh?
Yes.
Isn't it? Like, they're not even here on promo runs, dog.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Nah, dog, I'm going to go to Disneyland I'm going to be there at the resort for 6 days. If one day I come, like, damn, bro, like, that's crazy.
You know, we
LA's a huge market, bro.
Yeah,
you want to make something.
You know, the underground hip hop scene today is completely different than what it was like 10, 15 years ago.
Five years, dog. Even 5 years ago.
Right?
Yeah, dude, it's changed a lot. Fortunate to still be relevant within it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been able to get in tune with like having a universal palette. You know, like starting the blog, I was so stubborn with like, yo, I'm an underground hip hop head.
Yeah, you are though.
I am. Yeah, I am. I'm a super hardcore underground hip hop head, but I cannot tell that kid from Florida who sounds like a trap rapper that he's not underground, because he's gonna tell me he is underground.
Yeah,
you know, or the kid from Texas, peso type cats, and I can't tell him he's not underground.
He's dope though.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
He is. You know, so it's a whole different landscape. But moving forward, I've been telling myself, like, I have a rule for myself that I'm only allowed to listen to Spanish hip hop, because you know, the community out there in Southern America is thriving right now.
Yeah,
and
hip hop in Mexico and
it's funny how the boom bap style is the mainstream over there, and it's confusing, because I'm like, well, you know, they're the ones rocking Reebok and Adidas now, and Fila and Puma, right? Like, there's a whole transition.
So then in like 10 years they'll be bumping trap.
Yep.
I mean, for lack of a better, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just putting it in perspective.
Yeah.
Do you ever compromise? Do you ever find yourself in like compromising from what you originally started?
Mentally.
Yeah.
Right. But the majority.
In what way though?
Just, you know, incorporating the old with the new, you know, it's a hard balance to, it's a hard juggle to balance. You know what I'm saying? As a blogger, and our formula is submission based. We've always stuck with that. A lot of people didn't agree with that, but we stuck with that formula. Do you feel me?
Damn, you must be busy, dude. That's why you only do Spanish. You probably have so much.
Right? We're fortunate enough to have about 12, 13 writers with us. People who help us with the submission-based process, but someone has to do the filtering. And our younger contributors, they have a palette of hip hop as well. Sometimes a lot of the shit that they promote on our website, I don't personally agree with, but who am I, you know? Yeah.
But you respect their
work ethic.
There you go, and their
work ethic and their showmanship.
Okay,
right? Because I'm the same way as you. I don't care how you sound. What you do on that stage is what's going to determine if you get my approval. Because I do not look at clout chasing a bit. You know, I don't.
That was really what made
like,
it.
If you're verified, well, congratulations. But that tells me nothing. Can you pack a club out here in LA? Because from what people have to understand, LA is the biggest market for any type of music genre. You name it. You go to Spotify, every artist's biggest market is Los Angeles. So us being from LA, like we're, you know, we want to see your best. Am I right?
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, and then like you had said earlier, just that those people paid.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not just a like they paid. They want to see a show.
Yeah. And maybe I'm the same way as you. I don't like to show my face because it's bigger than just me, you know, and I've ran into so many haters that approach me with the most ignorant responses about, you know, how I make my decisions regarding a platform like this. And, you know, it just, I've been able to humble myself so much.
I always wanted to just to keep it going is like, and it's changed. Is like I always like I'm just gonna pass it on to the youth. Like the youth are gonna be like that's the future. Is anything is the youth. But I think with what I'm doing now in the format, because I interview like other bloggers, other podcasts. Like I interview them, so I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm doing what I originally thought I would do. I'm passing it down. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to do what I did. Like they want to do it on their own, just like I did. You know what I mean?
Well,
so,
you're a major influencer. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a YouTuber. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick and tired of these labels. Like, you know, apparently if you're a YouTuber, you're an influencer. Yeah. No, that you can't construe that word. You know what I'm saying?
And fortunate that I'm able to see it. I always said that, man. If I do a show and no one shows up, man, a lot like I got it's time to go, dog. Yes. Like I'm doing something wrong. That's always been my thing. So even when the lineups and stuff, like even that, dude, like. We feature because we have an event. It was Black Books and Rhyme Books, and with Beardo, and even then, like we're getting underground cats. Like, that's what that is. Like, we're trying to, build people on that level. But even then till now, we'll still switch it up because, like, just one of the recent things was, like, we give cats 15 minutes and we're like, you know what? Because we see live shows and we do them, we're like, hey, you're not have to do 10 minutes because, like, you don't have a catalog. Nobody knows your music. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. If you're rocking it, hell yeah, you're going to keep going. But because of the format or because of, like, being at so many live shows, I know what it's like to sit there because this cat paid for his 25 minutes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I got to sit here for 25 minutes because, you know what I mean? So even with that, I'm like, I think that's the biggest thing too, is I'm open to change. Like, nah, it's going to have to change. It can't be what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm completely on the same page as you, bro. And it's been a journey, though, me being a small little blogger out from LA, and being able to network with so many international artists. Like, I am local, but I don't consider our blog local at all. Like, I hate when people. Yeah, no, but even LA, like, I'm on the flip side of that because I know what it takes to quote unquote make it, but, like, to be successful in Los Angeles underground in general. How many people fell off? Yes. So it's like, and you're able to navigate it. Or like when people, one of the things I just not totally disagree, but kind of disagree with in a certain aspect of it is like when, like, oh, you got to leave to get respect. Like, nah, dog, you can't rock your backyard. Like, yeah, I don't know. To me, I'm just like, nah, you got to be able. This is what I tell.
A manager once told me.
It's funny how you mentioned that, guys, because I always tell artists, you have to start at your radius and expand.
Yeah.
A manager once told me, he's like, look, we're not going to do anything until we conquer Los Angeles. Like, Los Angeles has to, if you can't do it here, then what makes you think you're going to do it somewhere else?
People move over here, dog. Like, they're moving over here, like, to, you know what I mean? Or, like, that's what I see, too, is that, like, the work ethic is, like, it might not even, how can I put it? And it is what it is, man. Fuck, I'll say it. It's not that MCA is better than, not MCA because he's a legend, but MCB is better than MCC. It's just that MCC is better because he works more. You got what I'm saying? Like, damn, bro. And, like, I think that kind of messed up the game too, because you're never going to get MCB to be like, hey, dude, you got to get up, dog. You got to go, like, this dude passed you already. Like, he's doing it, like, you'll never, so then, as a purist, you're like, nah, but he has more skill. Like, dog. Like, I've done, it's funny, dog. So, like, I'll put no names, but we actually had, like, headliners where, like, to us, they're legends, you know what I mean? And the day of the show is like, hey, man, it's like, hey, man, I don't have a ride. Is there any way you could send somebody to pick me up? Send me an Uber. Like, oh, damn. It's pre-Uber, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, what are you talking about, dog? Like, I'm paying you, dog. Like, you do understand how we agreed to a, you know what I mean? The terms, and we signed, and, like,
it's supposed to be here at this time.
Yeah, dude. Like, that's so like I said, but then I see why, like, maybe that cat's not doing it no more. Yeah. And where there's, like, I think that's where the kids took it over. Kids, I don't mean, but younger generation. I sound like the old guy, but the younger generation took it over. And two, they're raised with social media, dude. You know what I mean?
It's just interesting to me how young hip hop is. Like,
no, take that back. It's always been.
But, like, really that young? Like,
yeah, look, go back to where it started. Yeah, to where it started. Think about it. It started in the projects in New York. They were kids. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's we lose that, and then.
But I can say, if you're a middle-aged artist, now's the time more than ever that you could blow up.
On the flip side of that is, like, COVID, even the field. Because nobody could say, like, oh, I was running this for a year. I was doing this for a year. Like, nope.
Nobody did.
Nobody did. Like, right now, it's even with shows. Like, nah, you could, and dude, if you're an artist, you could book your own show. You know what I mean? And these people.
How many times I tell artists that, man, and they just.
I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a pain in the ass. But you could, like, there's, even then, dude, like, the venues, man,
they're cutthroat.
Dog.
Yeah.
They're cutthroat, but hey, you're going to have to deal with that. Yeah. But what you have to realize, too, is that, like, dude, they just want people there.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised. I'm telling you, like straight up, if LA, if like the younger generation just comes out with the whole different sound and it takes off, because if they're packing people in there, that's it, dude. It's over. It's over. It's over. Because that's what I'm saying. Where I said it leveled the playing field. Where like we have this venue and we've had it unlocked for 5 years. They ain't touching. They're calling you first. Like, hey, these cats are saying that they got some hip hop. They want to book, but we told them to book through you. You know, but we're like, those days are done right now.
They're done.
It's gonna happen again.
They're done.
It's gonna happen again eventually. You know what I mean? Because people are gonna, get back to that level. But right now,
with this LA Natives event coming up on June 25th at the Catch One, guys, it was basically derived from the artist that we interviewed, right, Zero? There was no conspiracy.
No.
Well,
we also wanted to
we added a couple cats here and there.
How'd you guys find Sub One?
I actually found out about Sub One through Zero.
Yeah, he's a big fan of my page. Like, he used to always message me and stuff like that. And then I heard his music. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's fucking dope.
Yeah, I seen him perform. Then I interviewed him at a backyard in Whittier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just performed.
He's badass.
And I think the blog promoted him a couple times here and there, but I wasn't really too familiar with him until we created LA Natives, man. And he's by far one of the dopest indigenous hip hop artists I came across. Especially in the new wave of hip hop. You know, there's so many artists out there, man.
Yeah, and then even like on him, it was his performance that for me.
Yeah.
And then when I see him, like, damn, this fool booked, like someone else saw that. Like,
yeah.
So I'm like, who else was there that day?
And the one thing about
Sub, by the way, you are with us, man. You are fully involved with LA Natives, man. We need to have that group meeting with Richie, right, Zero?
Absolutely.
Like, we need to kill this this night, guys.
That's the cool thing about Sub, is that he does the extra stuff that an artist needs to do. He doesn't just sit back and go, oh, I'm an artist, I'm gonna go play. No, he's like, sharing and making flyers, and not only for himself, he's making them. He'll make a flyer for me, Olmeca, everybody, all separate. That's a lot of work, a lot of time,
and it's needed. That's the little part of marketing.
But it doesn't come from it's not like me. Oh, I'm gonna make Sub Ones. I'm gonna make.
One of the things
he does that's humble. I like that. That's dope.
When I was younger, I worked at a Anheuser-Busch distributor. I was a merchandiser, and I moved all the way up to chain store supervisor, and in my early 20s. And they would send us to school, dog, for marketing. So when people do stuff now, I kind of I remember that stuff, oh yeah, it's just doing that little extra,
and it's a result. Look,
it's having the banner in the back, it's having it's the branding of it, a point of sale, all that. So I kind of, I guess,
how much did it explode after we put this banner?
Right out of high school, my first ever job, I was the youngest person in the history of the Coca-Cola Downey plant to get hired. I worked there for 2 years, ended up getting promoted to a salesman. And from there, I ended up working for Home Depot. So I come from a background of POP, point of sale material, advertising.
Makes sense.
And I don't know. I took those practices with the blog, and a lot of people disagreed with my decision making. Me and my bro.
I still do.
Team. But we've been able to brand ourselves. Yeah. And it's not us. It's just this entity apparently that represents underground hip hop. What it is today in 2021 and 2022 and moving forward, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel you have a responsibility to it, though?
Of course, man. Every day I can't run away with it, bro. I wake up every day with dozens of DMs, bro, of cats like, yo, put me on. But what am I supposed to do? I don't have 8 arms.
So what do you just send them the link to the Cash App? Be like,
no.
Once it hits, I got you.
It just moved up.
You just went to the front of the line.
No. It just has to make sense, It's just I'm trying to.
But let's make it clear: everyone who is successful has to invest in themselves.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you have to. Like when I played with KRS-One, I paid to play. I sold tickets. I made my money back, but I had to pay before I hit that stage. But hitting that stage before KRS-One changed my career.
Right.
Change my career.
There's a big difference. For me, pay to play, it's a double-edged sword, right? You can either do it the right way or the wrong way.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. I know plenty of promoters that do it absolutely the wrong way. They just put anybody on.
Necessary
You
evil.
know, and I don't want to mention names because
No, say their name, dog.
You know?
I'll say it. No, that's a necessary evil, especially when if you're an artist and you don't got the following, dog. Like, man, I can't. You know what I mean?
Not everybody's gonna have that one break of like, oh, I like you.
It's
You're
rare to bump into a quality artist that is willing to do it because it's realistic to them, because they know they could either, like, I don't believe in pay to play. I only work with artists that are so able to sell their tickets to their audiences, and I give them 20% of the money.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing.
I
though,
allow
too.
all my
Yeah.
artists. What people don't understand: every artist that we book makes money.
If you
Makes
and
money
on the artist
And
side, if you
and
do
they're
it the right
specific-
way,
if you do it the right way,
Yes.
and it's realistic and it's humble, and it's not like some venue encouraging this kid to sell 100 tickets and it's giving them a false reality. No, we don't do that for Underground Hip Hop Blog, you know. But you
it's-
do have to invest in yourself pre-show, like just to get on a stage today, man. Like, I don't know, Bubsy, you already have to have a buzz.
Yeah,
You know, unfortunately.
and
but I'm not those promoters that I know of promoters today that will book someone that just released their first single, and I just don't. I can't do that.
Well,
to
it's
the
not.
hip-hop
It's not
community,
good practice
you know?
because I'll tell you one thing about the youth of making music, and they get success right away.
Yeah.
They still have not, like, I don't know if anybody knows this, but as an artist, you have to play rooms where there's not even nobody.
Right.
I'm not talking about like there's 5 guys in a bar. My first show at El Vuh, nobody was there. Nobody was there. Absolutely. I walk into the room. It's a Mecha event, and it's a sound guy, and I go,
But-
"Oh, I know that sound guy. Hey, what's up, Menno? What's up? Where's everybody?" This is it. This is it.
But what Butsky's talking about, the whole pay to play, right? The whole, it's derived from I would say performing for a headliner, right?
Yeah, and
No, but
am I
what
right?
I'm trying to point out though is if you're an artist and you're going, "Oh, I just released a hot single, but I've never performed or I've never done the thing. I've never played in a room with nobody." You know what happened after that room? 3 Mecha at the last song come into the room and go, "Hey, is this the event? Where's everybody?" "Oh, it's just us." "Well, stay here because we're gonna play you this one song. You know, this is the last song." Guess what happened after that? I got booked. We got booked for the rest of the year because those 3 cats were like, "What the fuck? Where are you guys from?" You're talking about Aztec, Mayan. So what I'm trying to say is, as you grow as an artist and you get disappointed and nobody's there and you play another show and then you get better and then you start mustering. Now 10 people are coming to your show. Now 25. Now 50. Now it's time to pay a play to play. Let's see how many we win.
Right.
Because you're
But I have a
developed.
strategy though, you know. Unfortunately, we do have a strategy. A lot of people ask, you know, and there's a lot of wiggle room between what the ticket price is and what you're getting them for. And especially if you're a grinding artist, it's not hard to sell 20 tickets. It's not hard to sell 15
you should
tickets.
know
I don't
20
require any artist to sell 50, 60, 70 tickets. Why? I think that's such a negative thing to put on an artist. You know what I'm saying? It's giving them a false reality of what grinding is about. Because if a kid could start, you know, pushing 10 tickets, then it'll encourage him to push 20 and then 30, and then you end up blowing up. How I saw it, I remember Kendrick Lamar selling tickets, but he would always push them. I remember seeing him at the airliner open up for some cats way back in the day. And he would literally, all his team would buy them, you know, because they believed in him.
Well, that's the name of the game.
But there's other promoters, right, that just
because
that use that pay to play philosophy in a whole different, a for-profit scheme.
Yeah, no,
You know?
definitely. No, because even then, we're like, you're telling you can make money off of it.
Oh,
I have no
of
artists
course,
that
bro.
have, like, because they're like, man, fuck pay to play. They're like, dude, that's.
It just
I'm
depends
getting paid.
on how you negotiate the deals.
But
you know,
I guess what in the high of it, it was mostly that the amount of tickets were ridiculous and the price of the tickets were ridiculous.
And a lot of people would take the bait.
And then whatever, like you said, it killed it too, because it was whoever was willing to, like, not even sell the tickets. People would just buy their slot, and then you would get that, like, outside, like, I got a free ticket.
Now, keep in mind, you know, when we issue artist tickets, we have them tracked. So when the fans come, we set them aside appropriately on who brought who.
Nice.
You know, and what's 20 tickets today? If apparently you're verified and you have a 6 social media page, am I right?
But that's where the disconnect comes from, though. Is like, too, is because that could, think you're doing something. You know what I mean? Because how could I put it? I've talked to influencers and they're just like, oh, you're doing this all wrong, and the way you're formatting it and the time you're doing everything. And I'm just like, I just did a show. We had 300 people, Doug.
Yeah,
like,
300 people bought tickets.
You know what I mean? Or like, we did this last week and we just did a spot in South Central. It was pretty grimy, but we packed it out. Like, I'm like, I can't fall into that. That's not my concern, dude. Like, I'm just doing what I do. And obviously it's working, like I said. So
it's almost like, I think it's, hopefully people can understand, like in 99 when they invented the internet or whatever, the internet, it's like, oh, the internet boom. Well, the internet boom is now, not then.
Well,
you know
I
what I mean?
have to say, you know, you draw 200, 300, 400, 500 people at your events, but it's because you've been putting in so much fucking work, man.
Yeah.
No, and that's the flip side of it too, is that it's not just social media. I have a history with cats before social media, like knowing, booking them, and just being in LA. You know what I mean? And even with that, like, if you're an artist, you know, that paints, I'll just put it like that, and you want an interview, I know I'm really behind. Reach out to somebody that knows me, dog. Because if you're coming in with somebody that knows me, like, it just makes it a little bit more comfortable. You know what I mean? Because and the same token, like, man, I'm just honored, dude, that like the people, the caliber of like cats that are running LA when it comes to the paint game, like, they want me to interview them, dog.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's. Matter of fact, I'm going to be dropping the Santo STP in the next couple of days. Okay. I just got to finish editing that video. King of the Rollers right now. That fool's running the rollers. Anybody knows about the floaters and all that. He's, oof. And the same thing. He reached out. You know, I reached out through somebody, you know, my age that knew him, and we were able to link that up. But like I said, if you're an artist on that level and you're, you know, just reach out to somebody. Like, it makes it easier for me, I guess. You know what I mean?
Hey,
I have a
Armando,
lot of people.
Can you get me an interview with homie? Because you kind of know him.
10 tickets. Hey, 10 tickets.
You know, hey, you know, I said vice versa for a reason.
Yeah, nah, we already know. Oh, we're even with then. That's the thing. Check this out. I'm not in competition. You know what I mean? So I've already got on board. I got an underground hip hop blog. If you want to be involved, what I'm trying to do is whenever an artist comes out, of course it's gonna be a bigger name artist, you know what I mean? But if and I lock in an interview, I want to create this network where, like, I'll share them with you, like their contact, but it has to be on the same level. Like, you have to be professional, on time, all that, you know what I mean? Yeah. But if you're on board with that, hit me up. And low key, I've been doing it for years. Like, if I have someone, I'll be like, oh, shoot them to this outlet. That's or this outlet. Dope, bro. I'm not like, that's cool. You get what I'm saying? To me, it benefits the artist. You know what I mean? You know, and but we're gonna be working. It
legitimizes you. Yeah. Like, you're not like it only reciprocates. Yeah. You know.
No, I just look at it like, if they're out here, how can there not be a connection already of like a promo run? Like, once somebody touched down, this should be like, okay, Monday you go here, Tuesday you go here. Like, it should already be set. Like, there's too many of us, way too many of us.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're here, Bubsky, because that's what I want to do with you too.
Yeah, no, we're doing a show. Homie. You said we're doing a show.
No. Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing multiple events.
Yes, sir.
Because it's well overdue.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's really
like you're one of my biggest influences.
I know when you said, man, when we talk, I'm like, damn, man, it's humbling. Like, I'm not gonna like, oh, you know, like, because of all the work, or when I meet cats and they're like, man, I listen to every single one of your interviews. I'm just like, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, and so that people know, like, that's why I don't show my face. I don't want to get a big ego. I'm arrogant as fuck already. You know what I mean? I don't need that extra shit. But one of the reasons was for my friend to have an outlet, but I just felt like people's stories weren't getting told. Yeah. Or like, it's not in hip hop, especially, like, you can't give props. Like, oh no, that fool's not big. Oh no, he didn't do it. And I'm just like, nah, that fool's killing it. That this fool, like, I seen him perform, or this fool brings, like,
I used to be that hater too.
Yeah, no, all underground people, all real hip hop, all boom bap are, you know what I mean? I don't know what happened. Like, we got old at some point and we became old people, dog. You know what I mean? Fortunately, straight up, I do understand though, and I think about it is that, like, because my sons, they raised as b-boys, breaks, hip hop, you know what I mean? And they're the ones who, like, nah, you like this? Here, check out this, you know?
That's cool.
And then so, like, that kind of, it puts me at a huge advantage. because I'll be like, they kind of like, no, I think you could use this. Like, this type.
Well, for any artist out there that's tuning in, OG Husky Radio it's definitely a landmark.
It's a staple in Los Angeles.
It's a staple.
It's like
it's a concrete.
Are you guys still doing that at the garage?
Yeah, that and we're mobile.
I was blessed enough back in I think 2013. I was in there. Paul's took me, and I was like, "Yo, this is fucking crazy."
I was tripping when I went. I was like, I called him. I was like, "I'm here for the interview, but am I at the right place?"
Broadcasting live from the east side.
I was like, "There's a house and a really big pit bull." I was like, "Should I go in?" It's like, he's like, "Dude, we're in the back. We're in the back."
Yeah, bro. And like, I go in there. I'm like, "Man, this fool's gonna go in on me," because it's like, it's, apparently we do underground hip hop vlogging. I'm like, yo, dude, this fool's one of the biggest underground hip hop heads in LA. I'm not trying to go in there, but I was like, fuck it.
And we ended up chopping it up for hours.
Yeah, and it's a blessing. It's to know of you.
Yeah,
pre the blog or even pre blog, because my brother used to rap and he would always mention you guys.
Oh, straight up. And thank you guys, man. Humbled,
yeah, your show is always like,
yeah, man. It's definitely.
It was almost like the
hip hop
Forces,
landmark,
but not.
Yeah.
Like Divine Forces, like you had.
Yeah, shout out to Fidel, and then the way it works. Wow. So you start with Fidel.
Fidel's one of my biggest influences.
Check this out. The way it works with him is that pre OG Husky Radio is I used to do these shows in Rose Hill Park, and we'd get like a Mexican descent to headline. We would get back in the days like just Brother J of X Clan. And it was a free event for the kids in the park, my whole thing. And we used to have escape ramps and stuff for them out there and stuff. And we're doing this hip hop in the park, right? And this dude comes down. He's like, I'm a DJ. I'm like, well, you got, back then it was records. And I'm like, well, you got records, dog? Go ahead and rock a set, dog. This is community. Like, we're all building together. You live here? He's like, yeah, I live up on the top of the hill, I was like, oh, we just moved in or whatever. I'm like, oh, what's your DJ name? He's like, well, I don't DJ like that. And I'm like, what? He's like, nah, I'm Fidel Rodriguez.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa, what the and then he's with this lady, and she's like, I'm Carmelita from the Wake Up Show. This is dope. I'm like, whoa, what? I'm like, you guys live right here? They're like, dude, we heard all the songs, and we were like, we got to go down there. Whatever. Then that Saturday, it was a Friday. That Saturday, I was at the Wake Up Show with like the RZA, DJ Quick.
What the?
Yeah, dog. Just from like, you know what I mean? They're like, you need to come over here. And I'm like, damn, I guess, you know what I mean? And like, yeah. And
Fidel has always been that way.
Yeah, but then he looked out a lot. Like,
he did.
Big time.
He looked out for everyone who's Los Angeles. Like a lot of my success too has come from Divine Forces Radio, and he gave us a shot.
And I could agree to that, because I'm gonna be honest, like one of the first times I ever heard of El Vuh was on Seditious Beats or Divine Forces Radio. I don't know, one or the other. I don't know.
But I want to say
first time I ever heard Immortal Technique was on that radio show.
Trip out.
Wasn't on the Wake Up Show.
Okay.
Because remember, no, not the Wake Up Show, but there was a station on Power 106 that would compete with them. I forgot what it was called.
Friday Night Flavors. Yeah, dude, that's right.
I would always like, be mixed on like.
That was Beat Junkies, huh? That was Beat Junkies.
J-Rock and those. And much respect to the guys, but remember back in those days, we used to have to record them on tape decks.
Yeah.
So you couldn't record both shows at the same time unless you had 2 tape decks. I couldn't afford that.
Yeah, no, that's another like unsung LA hero. Like, there's so many, but like, yeah, him definitely.
He's a true LA native.
Yeah, you got to get him up in here, dog.
Absolutely, everyone needs to be here, because this is our collective casa. This is like, you don't have to be native. I just named that there. And I've let.
But we are. You know what I mean? Like, once you break it down.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. No one's gonna tell me I'm not an LA native.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. And it's not to be done. What we're trying to do with the name is to be inclusive.
That's it's like that's what I guess what I meant to ask too is because with labels now, you know what I mean? Everything has to be labeled. So if I guess can't you just be like what I choose to identify as?
Yeah.
Like in this day and time, can't that just be enough to like we don't need a conflict?
Yeah. What's the conflict for?
I choose to identify as underground hip hop. But I'm OG Husky Radio. But there's a blog. No, but I'm underground hip hop. I mean, right? Like it's
divisive.
Yeah.
It's divisive.
Yeah, exactly. One more thing I wanted to say is that I always looked at hip hop as infinite elements. So like the kid beatboxing is as much hip hop as the dude doing the 5D or 6D graffiti, or to the kid catching a tag. Everybody plays their part.
Yeah.
When we get to the point where like, oh no, that's not like, no one put you in charge to like dictate that. So for me, beat makers, everybody, I think that's one of the successes to anybody that's looking into doing this kind of format or pushing hip hop. Just understand that though, like everyone plays a part. Like you, the big thing for me is like, you got to look at like house music came from hip hop.
Yeah.
Because the DJing came from that. Then house, they have their own genre. Well, now EDM has their own. EDM like doesn't identify with hip hop whatsoever. And that's like, you're rooted, dog. Like you're DJing. That's
an interesting point, because I told Armando that our next show should end with an EDM DJ. Like it should just escalate into something that's, you know, just it just
get somebody or like somebody with like the understanding of it. Because like I'm bad with dates. I'm bad with it. But I like, for me, I remember like the Jungle Brothers, I'll House You, or You're in My Hut Now. Like that's like the anthem or whatever. But that was like one song off of their first album where like it was hip house style. Remember that? Like, you know what I mean? From that, like it spawned a whole genre. The same way that like whatever Red Bull has the Red Bull B-boying, like the B-boys are doing their own thing. Like they created their lane, and like all success to them, you know, their sponsorship or whatever they're doing, props, you know, but it's just one element of it. Like, I guess that's what puts us ahead too, is like, we're bridging all of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, with understanding the B-boys at first said that like popping and locking, or even then, like anybody into that, just, it sounds funny, but like pop locking isn't a term. And that was like years of constant bickering and arguing and shit. And it's like now pop locking is a respected term, but at first, no, it wasn't. You're either a popper or you're a locker. And as an outsider, you're just like, I don't care.
I like both of them.
Yeah, so whatever you want to call yourself, I guess that's where it came from, huh? Whatever you choose to identify as, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so then it just I guess, like I said, the divisiveness of a label or doing it. But as for hip hop, I never looked at it like that, because then I wouldn't have El Vuh on. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, they're indigenous hip hop. Like, nah, dog. Then I could have a trap rapper, but not indigenous hip hop. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's so cool that it's so diverse in your world.
Yeah, and that's what it is for me too, though. You know, don't get me wrong, dude. You know, I still bump 2 Live Crew, and you know what I mean. Some Too Short, you know, you know, the philosopher Todd Shaw. That's Too Short's real name. That's my little joke, because like I grew up like I could probably recite every single verse he's ever done. Up until the Short Dogs in the House album. And that's like a big accomplishment for me. Yeah. Anybody now, they're gonna go back and be like, "Whoa, you listen to this?" But yeah, I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, hip hop had its own road and its own evolution, and it seems like you kept up with everything, you know, and even today, which is, as an older cat, like I'll admit it, it's hard to kind of still be in that.
I still like hip hop. I still love hip hop music. Like, cool. Even when new stuff drops, the thing is, I could go through an album, and we were talking about that. It's hit or miss. It doesn't mean I like your whole album, you know what I mean? But I'll take like 3-4 songs. But dude, there's underground hip hop albums that I only like 3 or 4 songs. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Doesn't mean I like everything. Like, nah. So what
album is it that you like the whole thing? Give me your album.
Let me see.
Well, obviously you said Too Short.
Yeah, Too Short, Born to Mac. What is it? Too Live Is What We Are. That's old stuff. But like Nas-Illmatic, front to back.
And you can hear that whole album.
Yeah, the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. Dope. The Kendrick recently is like the Kendrick.
The Butterfly one?
Yeah, the Good City too, both of them. But front to back, I guess where that came from, I got to tell that story too, is that when I was in high school, it was me and like 2 punk rocker homies, 1, 2, and then another homie that was into hip hop. But we were always together. And the homie had an old BMW, and we used to get in the car, and when we would get in the BMW, we would go like to the beach to go drink and stuff, and energy drinks. We would drink energy drinks and stuff. And the rule was that you had to put a tape in, but the tape had to play the whole thing. So it's not like dude, like, so if you put something that, man, it's back, man, we had to play the whole thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
So then they were heavy into ska. So like I would listen like to the Specials. And then same thing like Bob Marley, you know, just it was just whatever but my thing was I had to come with like some hip hop, you know what I mean? Nice. So then I was always putting them up on like, oh, these are the Mexicans, they're out of Long Beach, you know what I mean? Like here, this is it, and they're like, damn, this is, you know what I mean? But I guess kind of stems from that too. It was like my appreciation for music. Yeah. And then I had a uncle who passed away, and I had my cousin. They moved up to Mendocino, you know, Mendocino. And I would go visit him with the uncle because he was down here working. So we'd have to drive up. And he had that same rule. I guess that's where I kind of got it from. So I would have to play some hip-hop, like something that would bang the whole thing through. But then he would be playing like War, Tierra, you know what I mean? But still, like the rule was, it has to be the whole front to back.
Well, you're lucky you got those guys because those guys are like pretty dope, you know, Tierra and all that. So those are classics.
Yeah, so then I ain't gonna lie to you, man, but them drives sucked when I was at that time, you know what I mean? But now when I hear it, I'm like, man, we were driving up right there, you know what I mean? Seeing with the beach view, you know what I mean? The coast and stuff, like.
But how did it, you know, and the way it expanded your taste for music, obviously, you know, added to your radio show and I mean,
even with that, or even with collecting vinyl, you know what I mean? Because I still collect vinyl. It's just like, man, it's music has like that special, you know, like a War album, you know what I mean? Like I could get that and be like, oh yeah, that takes me back to like, oh, we're driving up, you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the time, like I said, at the time, man, I hated that. I was like, man, this is some whack shit. I ain't got to listen to War going all the way up. Now I'd be arguing with people. I'm like, War's the greatest band ever. Right. Fight me, homie. Like, tell me who's the greatest band for you?
For me, I think in terms of.
No, not just greatest band. Ain't no terms. Use
greatest band. Okay, greatest band ever. Rush.
Yeah, they flexed.
Rush. They flexed. I thought when I say a band, 3 people that could do that, that's insane. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't like when everybody was talking about, you know, certain trends. I always went, nah, I want to do this. Like, what's this? And then so we were older. You know, younger, and our friends were like 18, and they would pop in stuff like Queen, Rush.
Do you remember? Because it's not my generation. Because a lot of people, I guess, they're like, nah, you're not old enough, and I'm not old enough. But because of my older brother, remember like the stoner, stoner era in LA, where like it was all heavy metal bands and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I just trip out that how come that's not documented or like blown up?
You know, it's crazy that East LA has a very strong punk history.
Oh yeah, it still cracks.
Yeah, and that was kind of underneath that punk thing.
You know? What ska, right? And ska.
Well, ska is like more than that. Like now in the barrio is like that's the thing. Yeah. They could draw 200 people, you know, in a yard. That's all. That's all, and I love.
But it goes back to that history.
But no one knows. No one knows. No one knows. No one knows.
On it.
Yeah. When I moved to Northern California for a while, the Mexicans up there, they were into oldies, and they felt weird that I knew anything outside of that like oldies or Mexican, because they have isolation over there. Yeah. It's not like in LA where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Melrose and check out the, you know, it's like
we're super spoiled when it comes to like music. But you have an answer. What's the greatest band of all time, dude?
Band.
I'm
gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, you might take this as a shock, but I've never had a taste for bands and stuff. I was just always addicted to hip hop.
Wow, that's crazy.
So what's your first hip hop song? Like you remember? Like
It was the Dog Food album.
Snoop Dogg.
Well, it was Beastie Boys, but I in retrospect, I don't even consider that hip hop.
You're just anymore. When you heard Snoop on the Doggy Style?
No, it was the Dog Food album. That was literally
Dog Food
album. That was the first time I ever really got a hint of like real hip hop. Because I used to live with my grandpa and my aunt's husband. You know. He was a veteran, and he just would listen to all kinds of music. And me as a kid, he pulled us in, me and my brother, we were twins. He's like, hey, man, you know, listen to this. And then it was the Dog Food album. And that was the first time I ever even got exposed to, like, hip-hop.
Wait, because the dog food album is Dads and Corrupt, right? The
Yeah.
Dog Pound. I said Snoop, huh? But no, that's the dog. That's the
yeah, Dog Pound.
That's a front to back tape too.
Wow.
Because we're talking about tapes you could play front to back.
Right,
That's
and then
yeah.
Snoop Dogg was on it.
Yeah. Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Because I just grew up with, growing up as a kid, just listening to a lot of mariachi corridos. My family's first generation, so it was just like they hated hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I had to sneak in, to the other room to listen to it. And then how I got into underground hip hop was through Gangstar.
Okay.
So, one of my best friends, we were smoking weed at 11. I was smoking weed every day, bro, at 12 years old, 11, 12 years old.
It was easier to, in LA, it was easier to get weed than it was to get liquor. Just putting that
totally.
out there. Anybody knows that
so
was around.
we used to, lie to our parents and just go to our friend's house and smoke weed. And I was listening to something. I was like, yo, what is that? And he was like, oh, it's some guy named Guru. And then I was just like, yo, I need more of that.
Yeah.
And then
DJ
I was like,
Premier.
And I was like, well, that dog food shit's trash now. And honestly, I just been, and I considered that underground. And then I asked him, what is that? He was like, oh, it's underground hip hop. And I was like 11, 12 hearing that. And I was like, well, what is that? Yeah. And then he ended up spinning Dr. Doom. And it's funny how coincidentally, years fucking later,
That's another dope album too.
Right?
That's
years later, I even forgot about it. Like, we're booking Cookies. I'm just like, yo, that's fucking a trip. How he kind of was the first, group of CDs I had. I was like, yo, that's underground hip hop for what it is.
Yeah.
I have a Cookie story. I had was doing the record for Calpuli. And so my friend who made the beats, because I didn't make any of the beats, I co-produced it. I put all the live elements to the Calpuli album. But he knew Cutmaster Kurt, right? And so he's all, we're going to my friend. He's my good friend. He grew up in Santa Cruz with me. We're going to go to his house, and he's going to help us, like, engineer it or whatever, because he's a dope-ass engineer, too.
Yeah.
And so we go to his house. It's this, like, little apartment complex in Santa Monica off of Lincoln. And so I'm walking up the stairs, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is Cutmaster Kurt's studio. And he had his preamp, and he had his mixer in his room. He was a one bedroom, and then so we walk into his bedroom where he mixes, and he's all, oh, just be quiet. He's all, just be a little quiet though, because I'm about to do some vocals. Kool Keith is in my bathroom. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh shit.
Kool Keith is doing his vocals in my bathroom.
Trip out.
Yeah, dude. And Kool Keith comes out. He's like really short. Old dude. I was like, damn, this dude looks old. But it was him.
So Boski, when were you introduced? Because you're one of the biggest underground hip hop heads that I know. Like, when were you introduced to that element of where someone told you, hey, that's underground hip hop?
So then I was telling how that my buddy always had the tapes. So we always, like, LL Cool J Bad when it first dropped. One of the biggest ones I remember is like Cypress Hill. Like, they had it before it came out. I don't know how. You know what I mean? So then that was like underground hip hop because it hadn't even dropped yet. But at that time, I didn't really look at it as underground. It was just like, you up on this. So then it was everything from like East Coast rap, West Coast, King T, everything. It was just, so I never looked at music as underground. And then until there was no radio play, right? And I had a little homie named Gino, and he was I was a sophomore, so he was like a freshman, so he was a year younger, and it was like 93, 92, maybe, whatever year that is. Like I said, I'm bad with fucking years. But he had this white tape, right? And they had like a marker, dude, with this weird ass W on it, right? And it was Method Man, the song METHOD, man, right? Cool. And then I think what was on the other side? And I just remember the side had like the whatever. And I was just like, oh shit, they sampled this, you know what I mean? And the funny story about that is that, like, I have my shout out, I'm putting him on blast. My homie David, went to school together and shit. I got that tape and I put it in the Walkman back in the day, and I'm playing. I'm like, son of a bitch, this shit is hard. Like, these motherfuckers sample like their fucking kung fu knowledge and fucking projects and fuck, right? You know what I mean? So I showed it to my buddy David. I'm like, hey, dude, this is the new shit, dog. I'm telling you right now, dog. This right here, fuck, this is gold, dog. We need to get more of this shit. I guess he had went to a shop in Melrose, and like the DJ's like, oh, check this shit out, you know? Melrose. So then it was underground, you know, before underground, whatever. So I got it. I showed it to my buddy, and he's like, don't tell me these fools are black, dog. I'm like, I'm assuming so, dog. You know, he's like, almost like Shaolin, I guess, is like Staten Island, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say they're probably the black. He's like, fool, and they're trying to be Chinese or something, dog. Like, nah, you know. I guess it was Asian hate before Asian hate, you know. Yeah. And I was just like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, this is gives it back, whatever, right? Years later, this was a tattoo and shit. The Wu-Tang fucking W, dog.
Shit. Oh, shit.
I was like, hey, fool, you fucking clown me, dog. Like, I put you up on that shit. Like, wait, yeah, you know, dog. Don't tell nobody that story. So I never told anybody that story except to, LA natives, eh? That's right. Shout out my boy, dog. Yeah, dog. But I think at that point, then I was always like, just looking for artists. And then, fuck, to be blessed in LA. Man, I used to go to Project Blow, and I didn't have the $5 because back in the day, you had a bus pass. So you can navigate the whole city on a bus pass. And then you would get it for free because you're going to school. So you fucking have buses all day. You could go everywhere, dude. Like, you go to the beach, like, on the bus, you know? Yeah. So we're just fucking whatever. And what the fuck was I getting at? I lost my train of thought. But through going through the buses and like, seeing LA, I was fucking just like, oh, so I would go to Project Blowed. I didn't have the $5 to get inside. That's where I was at. And I would just sit outside with the fools catching books or like the outdoor ciphers. I didn't even like, honestly, like for years, because I never had paid, even when I had the money, I never went inside. Like, I was just like, fuck is cracking out here. Mm-hmm. And then we would purposely go even later because it was even more cracking. Like, I don't know if you've ever been out there.
And you know what? I could tell you the same story, man. Like, it was too packed. Couldn't get inside, but it was so cracking outside. I was like, yo, there's some performers out here.
Yeah, then you would just, and then even then, like I said, I always talk to people. So then it was always like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, or then back in the day, everybody had a mixtape. You know what I mean?
It was
like,
a small spot, by the way.
Yeah. But the outside, man, don't be fooled by the outside. It was cracking, you know. And then even just the level of artists, painters that were out there too. Like, oh damn, this is like a meetup spot. Like, without I'm coming for hip hop. And then I was just like, to me, that's when I was like, this is an underground. Like, people can't just tap in on this, you know what I mean? So that at that point is where like I'm like, yeah, I'm living the underground, you know. I remember when I was like later on, like 18, 19, and I just remembered like telling this cat I worked with, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go, you know, to Unity, you know what I mean? It's like, what is that? I'm like, I thought you like hip hop, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, there's some fool, he throws shows and like it's fucking Alcoholics, Wu-Tang. He's like, what? Whatever. So then I remember taking him. And he was just like, how do you know about this? And I'm like, fuck, doesn't everybody? This shit's cracking. Like, I thought everybody was here. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? How you don't know about this? You know what I mean? So at that point, that's when I kind of like, you know, blessed enough to go to like the Unities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's kind of like, I guess when I took it from there, I was more so influenced too. And I think was like the people I had around me were like the haters or like the people that like, this is like, I remember like, oh, you can't buy Serato because that's, you know, it's going to kill vinyl and it's not real hip hop. And, you know, and then when I would talk to them more, there's like, well, I just don't have the fucking $600-700 to buy it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like I have the $600-700 to buy it, dog. I'll fucking buy it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Why am I listening to you, dog? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I just like for me. And then, like I always say in every interview, my cousin Joe Tech, he's a genius, dog. Genius. He was finding like shit to broadcast on from like New Zealand and shit, like free streaming services, like when it first started cracking. Mm-hmm. So like when we were doing all that shit, like we would crash their servers and shit. Wow. But it was him. It wasn't me. Like he was just like, look, dude, just do what you fucking do. He's like, just tell me what I'm like, well, I guess. He was like, we could do our own show, dog. I'm like, whatever, dog, you know, whatever. And he'd be like, we even made him his own room and shit. He had his own room and shit. And then like, I just need this. All right, here. Like, I just need, and he would like fucking fix everything. Like, that put me at a huge advantage over people too, especially when it's all starting up. Because I would tell him some shit, and then he would either have to make it or like go to Fry's back in the day and then like fucking make it from there or have the guy, and they're like, what do we think of this?
You That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but he's fucking, that's my family, bro. Like, that fool, man. And
Because you were streaming live, right?
Yeah. That's what took us off. Man, what was it?
I remember it.
Cam streams, I think. Was it like cam streams or something like that?
When I went to the interview.
Would you guys have the watermark on it?
Huh? Back then, no. It just was shitty video, dog.
It was,
like
right?
shitty quality. And then when I would interview graph artists, dude, I would like scramble the whole thing because I was just trying to burn them. You know what I mean? And then people would be like, "Oh, your fucking video sucks. This isn't the quality." And I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to show their face. You know what I mean? But then come to find out, like, these motherfuckers want to show their face. Like, they're just looking for a reason, dog. Like, as with anything, like, look at my ego. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, nah, man, I'm not. And I guess that's one of the transitions, too, that was hard. And I'm like, I pretty much, like, make it a must now that you mask up. If you know what I mean? Like, or even, like, just how we navigate the terms or that we use, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm not trying to be that guy, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, you want to protect people they're trusting you to kind of.
And I guess that's kind of what pushes me ahead too, because I can ask the questions, like controversy, and I could do all that. Like I know enough of it. I know marketing and stuff, but I always say this too, is like, I still go back to the hood every day. I live there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way I navigate through life and the way I do stuff is because I'm still there. Like most of the people that like try to exploit it, you know what I mean? They don't live there no more. There's no connection. Like they're gone. So you can exploit it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what you're exploiting, you know, like, or even just like the drug use or whatever, like, yeah, you could do that, dog. But like, man, I guess it is what it is. But like, yeah, family members, dog, that are fucked up. Would you want me, like, fucking OG Husky Radio to interview your family member, dog, and like all the bullshit and fucked up shit they did, you know, while they're probably still on one, you know what I mean? Like, fuck nah, dog. Like, I'd rather like bring them in, you know what I mean, when they're like 4 years sober and they're getting their life together, trying to push their business, dog, and like help them out. And maybe I'm wrong or whatever, because you're supposed to help people at all times, but like, what am I helping you to get high? Like, whatever money I get you, just gonna go get high, like. And I'm not naive to it. Like, it has to be when they want to and stuff of that nature. But I just don't like the exploit type. And I think that's what we're heavy on, especially in hip hop right now. Heavy on that. Like, nah, this will get views. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, man, would you put your brother, your sister, you know what I mean? Someone doing that shit, like, especially they don't know no better.
Same page.
Yeah,
completely. Yeah. Guys, jam-packed interview. To all of our Spotify, iTunes listeners, you guys definitely have something coming. We got Zero of El Vuh. We got OG Husky Radio right here in the building.
Yes.
DJ Bubsky. And we're definitely going to work on some shows.
Yep.
Make sure you guys follow OG Husky Radio on Instagram.
Definitely follow him. Listen to everything
he's put out. Up?
The website is up, and right now I just post up just videos.
Okay.
Yeah, no write-ups, no video. Be honest with you, like social media is like what's pushing it, so I try to devote what time I do have to social media, because that's what the impact is. It's being connected to what people use. You know what I mean? Like, you could do everything. Like, even with that, like, I know tons of artists that run their music just off of Instagram and the website. The website's more like of ownership thing, because it's going to change. So then I still always have that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's one of the main reasons why I hold on to that, but definitely, like, even now, bro, I see Instagram not going to be around too much longer. It's at the end of it, because even now where I'm getting like copyright stuff that I posted like 3-4 years ago, dog. Like, you know, the record company.
I'm getting those same strikes, right? Just recently, right?
Yeah, and they're old. They're old posts. Like, they're reported, but their algorithms, like, that someone probably picked it up, a distributor or somebody. So then they look up into
the censorship and it's getting out of control, right?
Yeah, it's gonna keep going, especially like the disclaimers. Like, you can't even post a joke like on COVID-19 without
that
you know what I
stupid
mean?
thing come out.
Yeah, on the bottom of it. It's like, damn, we don't even know what humor is no more. But like I
Or
said,
Richie, man, like Richie, we have a pretty big influencer, Richie, and everything he posts has that stupid COVID thing on it. Like, he's not even posting about COVID. It's like fucking on there. It's
yeah,
like
but it's
fact
gonna,
checkers, right?
Yeah,
the experts.
But it's gonna, like I said, it's on to what's next. Like, be open to it. You know what I mean? But even then, like, look at how
I believe in decentralization. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, but see, and then that's where when the power goes totally back to the artist, that's where I think holding on to your website is going to be the biggest thing, because it's going to come to a point like some hosts won't even let you embed YouTube videos. So then, what player are you using to embed the codes? Like, it's just stuff of that nature. Like,
it's going to be a bidding war.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is, a greed war.
And then when
Is Spotify going to buy out YouTube to where now every blogger in existence can't even embed a YouTube video, but they'll allow you to put a Spotify link up?
Yeah,
Spotify is killing it right now.
And then I think that's what keeps me away from doing the Spotify, and because not that I don't want to compromise, but the success is that I have a DJ cutting up live. So now we have to, like, people bring their own beats. Like, you know what I mean? Especially independent artists, like, bring your own beats on a USB so we could cut that up. Because if we use someone else's beats, and I see other people doing it, like, oh, no, that's not true. I'm like, dude, once your views hit a certain amount, they ain't looking at you, dog. Like, it's when you get to a certain amount of views, then they're coming after you. Like, hey, that shit's been there. But because it surpassed whatever amount of views.
Even if the DJ's performing a live set of music?
DJing records off record, it's a copywritten beat. Yeah.
But it's a performance. That's
Don't
weird.
Look at it. You're
That's
still
weird.
using it. It's a creative entity. How does it say? Like, it was still copyrighted.
Yeah, no. Well, if I'm
intellectual property.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sure if it's copyrighted, it's going to be protected. But like,
but for you, Zero, you own all the rights and you own all the publications.
Absolutely.
So then when I interview you, you just bring your instrumentals.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you don't have a lawyer that's going to come after me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or
we
like
don't have that. We haven't had that.
Or like a distro. Like, let's say you. DistroKid? Anybody use DistroKid?
I've used CD Baby, but not DistroKid.
Okay, then CD Baby might hit us up, and then we'll be like, we have permission from the artist, and then they might send you an email like, yeah, these fools are making millions over here.
Well, that's what happened with us on our own YouTube channel. We were spinning the intro to the podcast as intro to the El Vuh album. And they hit us right away with the email.
They censored it.
Yeah. No, it's going to get worse. So that's what I'm saying is, like, being able to navigate it. I'm just trying to navigate through it and then see where it takes me. But I think, like I said, the biggest thing, because we had looked into it, like maybe we have to, like, even make our own embedded player, like, you know what I mean, get it just to that level. Because I mean, even whatever studio program you're using now, they could edit you. That's just like, so, like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we gotta just, like, okay.
And this is not even software anymore. It's basically software in a browser.
Yeah, just hosting it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I remember the first time I got interviewed by OGHUSKEYRADIO. They told me it's an internet radio show. I was like, huh? Internet? Like, what do you mean? Like, on the internet? And yeah, on the internet. It's live. It's live. What do you mean it's live? Well, they could talk while you're on the interview. It's like, and I remember doing the interview and looking at the screen and seeing, like, all these people, like, just fucking.
Yeah, no, we like I said, the only thing, the reason why I don't do the live is I don't have a big enough squad like I did before, and it's just, to me, it's distracting, man, because people be on some funny bullshit on the chat. You know what I mean? So I don't want to entertain, and then I know what I want to ask, so I don't sometimes, you know, but for the most part. And then two, the biggest thing for me is, like, people have asked to edit, and it's out there. So even if I take it down, someone might have screenshot it, someone might have do nothing, and then I just find myself in unnecessary stuff that I don't want nothing to do with. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, dude, did the interview, it was my time, it was your time, you know. But to have to take the whole thing down or whatever,
that's a hassle.
Yeah, so I record and then release.
There you go. That's dope.
That's just for me. It works for me. I mean, shit,
no, well, you've been doing it for, like, because I remember that interview was a long time ago. It's like internet radio wasn't that big.
No, we were pretty much on the forefront. I've had other outlets tell me the same thing. You know, I got it from you, and, like, whatever. And, like, you got it from Joe Tech. Like, that fool did all that. Like, and I think that's what made it better for me too, because I just had to worry about music.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's it. Just
like music. During that time that I got that interview, that's the epitome of underground.
Yeah,
being on an internet radio, like internet radio, because I was getting interviewed at Pacifica Radio.
Yeah,
at radio stations in college, actual radio stations. It wasn't like when I got to his house and I'm like, there's a pit bull here, bro. Like, it's like, like, where am I? Is this but it was live. It was hidden. It was like fucking a lot of people. Like, yeah.
But we have a theory, like it's, what did Joe say it was 8 years or 15? I don't remember amount of years. But Joe Tech is like, dude, everything recycles, dog. It's gonna come back. Like, we were at the heyday of like underground, you know what I mean? Right when, you know, how gotta say it, like internet barely cracking. Like we were doing big shows in LA. I mean, with hip hop, I mean real hip hop like lineups, you know. And he would always say like, nah, it's a trend, dude. Like, look at the crowd, they're young. He's like, once they get to a certain age or not, he's always like up on that, you know. So he has like this theory.
You say that, dude, because I got fans that tell me I was only 5 years old. My older brother used to take me to El Vuh. Like, now he's 20 and he's really into the music. And
so you're gonna keep those, you know what I mean. But as far as a trend, that's why I'm like fortunate that I'm still able to be relevant, you know what I mean. But honestly, because of like my 9 to 9 job, I already compromised there, you know what I mean. Like, because it's what supports my family and like, you know what it supports my family, you know. So I already compromised there. So like for this, I'm not gonna compromise. And like I got my compadre detail, dog. Is like, dog, just whatever. Hey, I need a ride Sunday, dog. My fucking car's in the shop, dog. You know what I mean? I'm putting rims on it from the last show, eh? You know, I need a ride now. But like he'll just roll, like, and that's just what we do. You know what I mean? And
well,
like it's more than
your last event was success.
Yeah, no, you know? Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Your presence is needed more than ever, bro.
I think it's
hip hop right now. The underground game is so diluted and it's so chaotic and confused. Artists are confused, man. That's just my personal opinion, you know. And there has to be people that hold artists accountable, like yourself.
Yeah, it will. It's just like I said, the internet is what changed it, though. Is that because you're getting this false confidence, you know, or this false presentation, you know what I mean, and it doesn't really translate into like being out there around people, you know what I mean, or like even being able to relate. But that's to each his own, you know what I mean. They're, you know, but that's how they're quote unquote blowing up, you know what I mean. But not really, bro. I mean, even with Dan, because I've even like thought on my own like personal level, like aside from everything, I'm just like, I've been doing this for a long time, and like, did I do more harm than good? Because how many people like were like sold on their dream and it didn't happen, you know? And if you look at the numbers, even now, how many MCs or rappers are really gonna quote unquote make it in the financial terms of like living rich and like doing, because that's what they're doing it for. Ain't nobody like, I'm doing this to fucking to be broke and like just for my art. Like, nah, dude, like they want to make it, dog. Let's be real. Like anybody wants to make it off their art.
I can only speak for an artist that, like, I am an artist. I am, but yeah, you go into the illusion that someone's going to do everything for you and give you lots of money because you have a talent.
And it is not
that way.
Yeah. Because even with me, like, I'm gonna give you exposure, like, for sure. But if that, you know, you do a show and after the show somebody says what's up to you and like, oh, you're too busy, like they're just gonna look at you like, hey, dog, we're in fucking Skid Row, dog. Like, you're in the hood, homie. You're not in fucking, you know what I mean? You're no fucking Hollywood Bowl, homie. Like, that's it. Like, and that's it. They'll never ever like that. But then that goes to like personality, you know?
Yeah.
But that was what was so great about Zero and El Vuh. Like when I would approach them, they were so grounded.
Yeah.
You guys you guys were like, honestly, like when I would go to their shows, they were so rooted, bro.
But it was pre-internet, you know? Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. See what you see that we like that. Because now he's going to be like, do you follow me on Instagram?
No.
Like my last 10 pictures, or I'm not even fucking going to look at you.
I was there when Fora broke. Like, I suppose took him to my gallery in downtown. And it is exactly what you were saying. It's like people would talk to him and then go, tag me on that. Yeah. Tag me on that.
He was already on that.
Tag me. Oh, yeah, like my picture. It was more, his conversations with his fans was more about how he was going to get something. And I'm not talking bad about him because that's his job.
No, the marketing of it.
Your job is to do that. Your job is to be smart enough to do that. Like, look, and now look at him. He's a millionaire, you know. But testament to what you're saying, you're not gonna get there if you don't do that.
Yeah.
If you don't take a picture
or
with someone.
expect me to do it for you. Like,
Yeah,
this is
that's not gonna
Zero.
happen.
Like his and do this. Oh,
No,
follow me. Like,
that's not gonna happen.
I mean, it's funny, dude, because I'll give my phone. Like, hey, dog, just punch it in. I'll follow you right now. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, that don't mean shit, dog. That shit like nothing of anything to me, dog. I mean, it means something to somebody, you know what I mean? But I'm like, here, just open up your page, dude. I'll like whatever. As many as I could do right now while we talk. Fuck. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, I met
That's
vendors
dope.
that way, dog.
That's
like,
dope.
I'll put it out there. Dog. I want to put a fucking pizza oven in my backyard, dog.
Nice.
Like the brick ones and shit. I just figured, fuck, the motherfuckers don't leave. I got to feed them all the time. So I was like, I'm going to put a pizza oven, whatever. So I started looking up, you know? And I seen this dude, like, pizzas look bomb, you know? Oh, whatever. I'm looking, I'm like, oh, he's from Lincoln Heights. Oh, like Lincoln Heights area now, you know, whatever. The gang shit, whatever. So I'm like, oh, shit. I started liking all shit. Like, damn, oh, shit. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, whatever. Ends up, like, I do an event. Like, oh, I need a vendor. That pizza guy's like, hey, dog, I want to fucking vend.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I just, like, just because of that, like, that's where, like, we got to use that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what did that take me, dog? Just fucking
5 minutes.
And if that, you know, and like, oh yeah, dude, thank you, you know what I mean? Came to the event, sold out, you know what I mean? So it was funny, dog. Whatever, I'm putting out there. Like, he was just like, yeah, dude, I did an event, you know, and they said there were gonna be a lot of people, dog, and fuck, I ended up throwing away a lot of fucking food, dog. And I'm like, nah, what, you got like 50 pizzas or something? He's like, I got like 50. I'm like, you'll sell them all, dog. He's like, oh, all right, dog. I'm like, I'm gonna remember your face, dog. The way you looked at me right now, dog. Fuck, homie, you know what I mean? So after the show, I'm like, what's up, dog? How'd you do? He was like, any event you want, dog. I'm here. I sold out. I was like, I told you there'll be people, dog. I know, like, I know the fucking demographics, you know what I mean? Like,
this is one thing about Husky Radio events is that they're packed.
Yeah,
all the time.
And like I said, if it doesn't, dude, we have to change the formula. But then even then, we have this like ruthless ass group chat. I hope that never goes public. But book somebody whack, bro, and whoa, man, you ain't leaving that shit down, dog. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, nah. Even now, what we do now is that we have rules, dog. Like, if you're gonna perform, like, we're giving you like, bring it on a USB. Bring your instrumentals on a USB. Have them tracked. You know what I mean? 10 minutes before you come, make sure that it's loaded. Like, no fucking overlays. You have to perform live. Like, stuff that we wouldn't like think of. Like, we're hip hop.
Yo, I'm so glad OG Husky Radio says that, because we follow the same format when it comes to like notifying artists ahead of time. Hey,
you have to.
When you perform at our events, you cannot rap over your vocals. And if we do catch you, we will never book you again.
Yeah, straight up. And it's crazy that you have to do that in hip hop, but it's like it evolved to that. So it's like, nah, we have to stop it. Like, we're in the power to do it. If we just overlook it, dog, like, nah, like, we're gonna be responsible for the downfall.
I'm all for slight performance tracks, just depending on
overlays, yeah,
right. Depending on who the artist is and what his showmanship is about, right?
Yeah, but
I appreciate everything you just said, like the organization, the 10 minutes before, because you don't want to be at an event where it's not organized and the guy's about to get off and the DJ's over there, and
we've actually when we do the show with you, we'll have two turntable setups.
Yeah.
There ain't nobody disconnecting nothing, dog. Like, at all. Like, nah, there's like, for venue, you better have two setups.
Yep.
Because to be looking at the DJ and he fucking turns on his Serato's loading, dog. Like, they paid.
Yeah.
I ain't paid to fucking watch you set up, motherfucker. You should have been done that shit. So like, just that's another idea for like anybody doing concerts and stuff. Get two turntable setups, and you know what I mean. Like, that way it keeps going. I always wanted to do like the fucking rotating stage. Just two. That should be sick, bro, right? That should be dope. Hey, dog, like, just imagine, like, these fools just finished rocking, that shit turns, the motherfucker just coming
another
out.
one comes out, yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Like,
that's
I always
fucking dope.
Yeah, that's another idea. You could steal anything, dog. Just do it, and I'll go. Like, fuck, if you do it, I'll go. Like,
they did that at a long time ago at Olympic. There was a big outdoor parking lot, Olympic something, and they had two stages, one in like this and one in the back, and the crowd was in the middle.
And went back and forth?
Yeah, and so when that band went on, you just had to turn around and see the other one. It was two stages that were going back and forth.
Yeah, that's like, it's neat, like, entertainment-wise. That's another thing, too, is that, like, you're an MC, you're an entertainer. You have to fucking entertain, dog. Like, I mean, to just stand there, you know what I mean? And fuck it. You know what? I paid. I'm going to put it to you like this. I paid. I don't want to wave my hands like I just don't care. I paid you, motherfucker. Why am I performing? Fuck you. You perform. Like, you know what I mean? And you're not. You're fucking lip singing. That's talky shit. Fucking making hip hop.
No, but there's some people that do that. They don't put the effort into practicing or developing.
I think it was an Omeka back in the day. Remember, he used to.
He was on a track like that.
No, I'm saying, shit. Watch out. He used to perform. He used to perform with the video. The video in the back. It was Omeka, right? He had like visuals to what he was rapping about.
Yeah. That sounds.
I just remember I was like, "Fuck, this fool's gonna get booked everywhere, dog. This is some fucking." And I was like, "This is gonna have to take off." And this is not. I mean,
actually, Olmeca's performing June 25th.
Yeah.
Tell him to do that visual. Tell him he used to do back in the day.
That's
right. You guys have the screens too.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have
dude. And then just pay me 20% of whatever they pay Omeka.
This is going to be the computer that's patched into the projector.
Yeah.
By the way.
So
nice. We're just trying to provide
me and Armando have what I thought that we would do with our events is be like a low end theory, like it's a vibe. It's expect this when you come here. Expect lyricism. Expect. Like I thought that pulling little documentaries from all the research that I've done and just playing the audio clip of that just to trip people out while hip hop instrument. Like what I want to do is what Fidel used to do on Divine Forces Radio. He used to talk over hip hop beats, but instead of talking over hip hop beats, we're going to use pieces of like, really deep documentaries that maybe get some little clips, not the whole thing, just little clips. You're hearing like, what the fuck am I hearing?
Fidel was like one of the best to do that. And they I mean, just the production side of what they were doing. Even now, when you still go back, you know what I mean, and you listen to that show, you're like, damn, we just took it for granted, bro.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. And I've told him so many times, bro, we miss you, bro. Like anything you could do. But I think he's just grown. He's grown.
But then too, what I always looked at with him was that like, because he would still do whatever show he did was packed. Like he had that connection.
Yeah.
Like where
I remember he did the Immortal Technique show, bro, and
the one at Self Help Graphics,
bro. No, there was one. There was like 10,000 people there.
Holy fuck!
He's like We the People and stuff. Right?
Yeah, We the People. Yeah, We the People.
Yeah. But that's where I always looked at it. Like when I see people, I'm like, do a show or like do a show. See what if you ain't, doesn't matter what you do. Like I just translated that to like the internet too. Like it doesn't matter. You could do all that on the internet, dog. Pull a crowd, especially in LA.
That's hard though. And the fact that you do it consistently.
Yeah, it's so difficult. It's
hard.
A crowd, guys.
It's hard.
So much back end work involved and promoting and so much time
and community. The community. I think
it's
the success
on top of the financial investment. People have to understand there's a whole.
The work that doesn't get recognized. The work that doesn't get recognized at all. Even like,
and nothing's promised.
Yeah,
people don't have to show up.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
That's why it has to be a vibe. That's why I think it's like a vibe, and I think that's what Husky Radio does. Is like they create a certain element. Because when I went out there to, someone was parked and you got Husky Radio's doing an event on 2 Sundays ago.
Yeah.
2 Sundays ago we finished I walked over. There's like fucking 300 people here. I was like, what the fuck? It's like someone's parked in front of my car. It's like I tell him, he's like, it's a vibe.
Yeah, even with that, because I always tell people too at our events, like, we're not here to fucking mad dog each other. Like you're at the wrong place. Yeah. And if you trip, it's pretty much everybody's gonna be against you. Like it doesn't even matter if that like whoever brought you or whatever. Like that's what we're able to police ourselves, which in any community is like needed.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, man, talk to somebody, dog. Like if this dude's if he's selling, ask him where he got him from. Like fuck. Who's gonna be the guy to be like, oh, I can't tell you. Like those days are dead, homie. Yeah. Like cover your record, don't let nobody see what you play.
Yeah,
motherfucker, I got fucking Shazam or whatever the fucking. I can know whatever song is, dog. What does it matter if you cover your shit, Right. But we just gotta like. I think that's the bigger part of it is just the community, man. Like the people that support me, I just greatly appreciate it.
And you have an army, bro. There's a lot of people and generations.
Yeah, that's generations. I think that's the bigger part of it. You know what I mean? Like, my son's he's at work and he's all like, oh shit, someone's live streaming from this show in downtown. You know what I mean? And he fucking looks and then he's like, oh fuck, ask him to see the DJ and shit, right? He's like, that's my dad. Fuck yeah, that's my dad, whatever, right? But to them it's like they grew up in it. To them it's you know what I mean? It's what their dad does. It's Sunday, dude. I should be barbecuing drinking, you know what I mean?
Right.
Right there chilling. No, you're doing an interview, you know?
Nice.
It's part of, even then, I just appreciate, people that, want to hear me. Like,
dude, you have an amazing radio show, and it was fun. It was kind of like going to, when I did that interview at Husky Radio, it was kind of like going into the neighborhood and meeting some new, like you knew one dude and you start smoking, or you just have commiserating with everyone, and then, but because it wasn't like, oh, this is Zero from El Vuh. It was like you're just going into the homies pad.
And that's another thing too, is like kind of it kind of got a little, like the transitioning got kind of hard for me, because like I was getting people that don't necessarily know how to navigate through the hood for the interview. And like there's just unwritten shit that you don't do, like that we don't realize it. I'm like, oh shit, man, you don't block no one's driveway, dog. Like,
absolutely.
Damn, that shit, like they fucking work, you can tell a fool that works from 5 a.m. to like fucking 9 at night, doing construction, that he can't get out, even if he ain't going nowhere. It's just the fact that like, for real, you don't block the shit. You know what I mean? Catching tags, you're in a neighborhood, you're not in the street, dog. You know what I mean? Like, even with that, like when we did the show in downtown LA, I was just like, you need to catch a spot in here. You do realize we're like in downtown LA. Like, you need to catch a spot in here.
Yeah.
Like,
right in front.
Not out there. Like, away from here. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I just saying, you're like in the mecca of fucking fame. But it's just having that understanding and then like that connection. Like I said, I talk to mostly everybody that comes through. Like,
that's dope. And
build that relationship. So I'm fortunate to meet a lot of legendary people. You know what I mean? And build with them. I know somewhere right here we got the disabled slap. That's a little collab we did. Little slap tags.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the disables tag. That's one to work with him, to work with LA Hand Styles. We have the pin somewhere around here too. Like, but those are all just collabs, and like we just work together. You know what I mean? And
that's cool to have really good artists to contribute.
Yeah, and that's all it is. Like, it's finding the like-minded people. Like, people are gonna, like, even with the LA natives, they're gonna try to come in just to exploit it, like to try to come up. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not why I'm doing it. Why should you do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. If you come in and you fucking create your own hustle, your own lane, and you do it, hey, I'm not taking nothing from you. Like,
it almost seems like, how many times did we confront that? A couple of times already, Armando, where it's like, oh, that's what you do? Oh, okay. But also, too, though, Armando asked me to do it, like, to be the host, and I have 20 years experience in my community. So it's like I come with, like, a certain vibe, a certain message. And
you're pretty, I mean, fuck, you're at the forefront of the indigenous movement, though, with that. If no one's ever told you that, like, I mean, you, Omeka, Aztlan Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, man.
It's a trip that I don't even see that. Like,
yeah, that's why you have to be told that, like, because you're just doing what you like. I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
but just think about everyone else that like has come and like, because there's you guys have Keys too, huh?
Yeah, Keys IMC.
That was dope as hell too.
Yeah.
I don't know how I don't know how he can't get crossover success though. Yeah. That was fucking dope.
Yeah, and he's an actor. He's he's not just an MC. He's like, he does a lot of things.
Yeah, like I said, I'm up on it just because I listen to hip hop. You know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy, Keys. That's crazy, Keys.
Yeah, he's an OG battle rapper.
Yeah.
You know who I liked? Red Cloud.
Yeah.
How he split? Well, supposedly he split his career into two.
His brother,
his twin,
who lives in the Aztec temples. El Máscaras.
Yeah, that trap music he made was fire, dog. That was dope. Good music. Honestly, music wise, that's good music.
I appreciate him because he is an artist. He knows how to adapt. He can see the playing field. That's what you have to do as an artist. You have to look at the outside. Like, for me, I go, I'm not going to make a trap song, or maybe I will, but it won't be an album.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get into that what's the name of that they call them drumless beats.
Oh,
where it's just kind of a loop, and it kind of fits my lane. I feel like I'm going to go there, but not in that way. I have my own version of it.
Well, he means like the whole Rock Marciano sound. And
I'm hit or miss with that personally.
Absolutely.
If it's in my car, I want to bump. That's where I find we find ourselves bumping like some ignorant shit, dog, in the car because that shit hits, dog. If you have a fucking system, man, the more ignorant, the better, dog. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like playing some super trap shit, like. Even I'll be like, hey, Laura, we're in front of the house. I don't want my kids to hear this profanities and shit. I think because I posted a video, Doug, when I recorded some graph on Mission. Like, it was a long wall. So I'm like, oh, fuck, right? And I recorded. Oh, man, the fucking DMs, eh? What the fuck are you guys listening to? Damn. You guys sold out. I'm just like, so no, I ain't even paying attention. I'm like, oh, no, it's because we have a system in the car, Doug. We're bumping. Like,
for me, I look at anything and I go, I'm not going to copy. Like you said, it's that style. It's hit or miss. But my job is to make it different, but the same. You know, like for me, that style.
How about experimental beats beyond that? Like, because that's hitting already. Like, there's established artists in that. Like, how about just experimental, like something different than
that's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to do that style, but I'm not going to sample oldies. I'm going to sample native music. And put in my versions of how it should evolve within my poetry. Because what they do is they just put that banging ass loop and they have lyrics and their lyrics are dope.
But doesn't it remind you of the old like Project Blowed though?
Yes.
Where there was really no beats. It was the lyricism and the delivery. Like, what is it? The patterns and all that?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, why not do that with a dope beat though? Mm-hmm. I mean, do it with a dope beat. Like, cause man.
My job in that is to go from drumless, but into, like, I got into break beats, right? But people didn't know that I would take a 4-bar break beat and only get 1 bar out of it. And then get another 4-bar break beat and get another bar out of that. And then I cut it together and then I sped it up into a drum and bass. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to take that style, but I'm going to dissect it and you're going to play it side by side, but mine is going to be progressive. Because
and lyrically on a different level.
Absolutely. Like, lyrically forever.
Way different.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what my next music will be. And Global Pandemic is the beginning of that.
And by the way, guys, he's going to be performing that on June 25th.
That's my new single, Global Pandemic, mask required. Except I'm going to use a ski mask.
I know the mask. Like I said, people are like, oh, this COVID ass food. Nah, but I just don't show my face.
No, this is an
if you look at the interviews too, like I'm not like, nah, this is like the most I'll do. But like the interviews, it's years, man, years. And like I said, it's just look at it as like, I'm still able to navigate and people treat you different if they, you know what I mean? I just want to see people for who they truly are. Like if I meet somebody, man, it's like, you see somebody, they need help, you fucking help them.
Yeah.
You don't help them because, that's Bubs. You know what I mean? Like, you just help them because they fucking need. Even if something like, hey, picking something up or like, fuck, like people. I've had people that I've actually met and like their dicks or assholes. Fuck it, be that way. That's you, you know? But then the flip side was like, oh, you're Bubs. I didn't know. Like, what the fuck? Why does that change anything? Like, be a dick, be an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because then it becomes fake.
Yeah, that's why I try. That's why one of the things too. I just started to stay away from it.
You're one, in my history, you're one of the most authentic people I've ever met in the hip hop game.
In the what? The most what?
Authentic.
Oh, I thought you said offensive. I was like,
no, authentic because you're an influencer and you put people on, and me being in the scene, so many people wanted to get on your platform, even from back in the day.
Yeah. It was the hottest internet radio that I've ever heard. Like, people would talk about it, really talk about it. Like, I remember before I agreed to that interview, they told me the story of the homie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's this internet radio from some homie. I go, why do they call it Huskies? Oh, it's because of, in the story that you shared. That story goes with that radio station.
Yeah.
I when I heard that story, I even wanted more to do it. Like, because I felt like this brother right here is not forgetting something's very important about that name. And the homie passing before his time, or the pain of that, you're keeping him alive in a sense.
Sure. Yeah, and it's funny though,
and giving him a platform
because of how could I put it? Different social environments according to neighborhoods where you reside in the Los Angeles area.
Yep.
There's people that like, because of those rules and regulations that wouldn't necessarily have got along with them because of where we reside or where we're from.
Yeah, I get it.
And to have them people rocking the gear is like, that's success to me. Like,
unity,
you know
bro.
what I mean? Like they're rocking this, like, yeah, OG Husky. And I'm just like,
it's like what you said. Like,
you
if
know?
you're going to be an asshole, be an asshole. Don't be fake about it. Like, this is the real deal right here.
And just, even if, you know, maybe it's not your cup of tea, dog. Maybe you don't want to vote. Don't. Like, that's cool. There's tons of outlets out there. You know what I mean? And I probably interviewed them and I'm fucking promoting them and I will promote them, continue to, you know what I mean? But if it's not something for, even for our shows, if because we have live art and it's not live art because it's not illegal, hey, don't come, don't show up. Or because it's sticker trades or like, and it offends you because that's not real, like, then don't come. Why would you like just bash it and not, you know what I mean?
Experience it.
Yeah,
man.
but even if you don't want to experience, fuck it, you know what I mean? Just don't come. Like, or bash on it, don't come, dog. Like, because I'm just looking for people, like-minded people, and we'll build and we'll keep growing. And we'll be here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I felt that way about, you know, individuals that have a strong opinion about anything I've said. I don't sit there and debate them.
Yeah.
I just, like, one time some homie's like, how can you say that the Aztecs weren't conquerors and the Incas weren't conquerors? And I was like, look, I gave him an answer, and he came back again. And I went, look, the second reply that I gave him was, look, bro, you're a very smart guy. You have a lot of knowledge, and you're my raza, bro. I'm not going to debate you. If you feel that way, I agree with you in that way.
Yeah.
Then do it. And then he came back again.
Well, even
and then I told him, just unfollow me, bro. I'm not here to ruffle your feathers, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not here to do that.
You do way more than I do. It's even like you. Like, you haven't drank in 3 years, whatever, 2 years, you know? Whatever reasoning you have, fuck, I'm happy for you. It makes you, if it feels it makes you a better person, but if it makes you miserable, hey, fucking take a drink.
Absolutely.
But I'm not here to fucking tell you, hey, you got to take a drink, or fuck, you think you're better than me. Like, it's people's own misconceptions. So, like, nah, dog, let everybody do the thing.
That's why I told Armando that the Catch One was a perfect place for us, because the movement that we're trying to create with the LA natives is a non-judgment. Everybody comes in different. It could be a homie that heavy drinker, never heard about his culture, but went there and said, "Hey, you know what?"
Yeah, but even like, that dude, I'll put it out. There's a fucking Barack Obama, OGHUSKEYRADIO.com, the LA Natives podcast show, doing the show. It's a super LA hip hop event.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all. There's nothing more to it. There's nothing like, it's a hip hop event. If you're into hip hop, you come out and you support. I mean, I see you guys have Cali Paints in there too. Like, I mean, you guys representing the elements, you know what I mean, on that level too. I just interviewed them cats a couple of weeks ago too. But it's hip hop.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if anybody, even if you don't relate to the indigenous culture, or that's not you, or whatever you choose, it's hip hop.
Yeah.
So it's the same way the trap is hip hop, the same way so if you're going to a show, you're just coming to a dope LA hip hop show, live performances, like, just come out, just trust me. And if it's whack, I'll reimburse you. Shit. You know what I mean? If you come out and you don't see these cats perform and be like, damn, these fools are dope, that lineup is sick.
Thank you.
That's it. So just show up. Like, if you don't know anything about, but you're an underground hip, or you're a boom bap, or you're a purist, or whatever, go out to this show. That's all I'm gonna tell you. And if it doesn't change you,
thanks, bro. That's a cosign beyond.
Turn your mic on.
That's a cosign stamp. We got OG Husky Radio.
That's
right
an honor, bro.
No. That's. I think we have to change that, dude. Like, cause we gotta. You know what I mean?
That's an honor, bro. Like, to hear you say that about our show is like.
Yeah, no, I'm up on, bro. I'm up on the artist. Like, I know about the artist. Like I said, even with
Sub One, Olmeca, myself,
Jag from Cosmic Force.
Yep.
Nug Life.
Yeah,
we got Nug Life. His billboards are everywhere in DTLA. You know, so
it's diverse.
So with the diversity of me and Dito, I think we're late. We were supposed to go see a blues band at the Valley Yard.
Oh no,
it's an 18 yard, right? It's an 18 yard right there on Alhambra Road.
There it is.
So we're about to cut out. Thank you guys. Shout out Detail, does the bookings. Shout out Top Rank, that's my DJ, holds it down. Shout out Beardo, Black Books and Rhyme Books. Iron Lungs too, right? He does the Iron Lungs promo stuff. And then everybody, my family, you know, everybody, like, that's another thing too. I think it puts me at an advantage. Is like, my family accepts this, dude. Like, this is what I'm gonna do, like, forever and ever. I kept saying I'm gonna be too old for it, but as long as people listening, you know what I mean, I'll keep doing it. I don't give, like, it's too much part of my life, so keep doing it. Thank you guys and everybody that supports me, man. And it's humbling, man. Like I said, I know I'm an arrogant motherfucker, but when someone tells me, like, I listen to your interviews, and man, fuck, how can I stop doing it? You know what I mean? Like,
you're good at it.
It's not me. It's not me, dude. It's like motherfuckers behind me, dude, that probably, like, don't even get the recognition. Although I'll put it out there, for like a lot of years, they thought that my brother Detail was the main guy and shit.
Oh shit!
And I let him too. I'm like, man, fuck, I don't care, dog. You know, I do it. Put it this way, I went to an event one time, dog, and I couldn't get in.
What?
I couldn't get in, dog, because they were like, "Are you Detail?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, Detail's on the guest list." I'm like,
What?
"Under what guest list? Like the OG Husky Radio guest list?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, but it's under Detail. You're not Detail, right?" The fool's all tatted up and da da da. I'm like, man, fuck Detail, dog. You know what I mean? So it made it worse too. You know, but I'm like, fuck, dude. I had to call this fool like, hey, dog, can you please get me into your to the show, dog? You know what I mean? On your strength and shit. You know what I mean? But for years, that's the only one time I regretted it. But any other than that, Detail's the main guy. He's in charge of everything. Send your complaints to him and shit.
That's right. Make sure everyone follows OG Husky Radio on Instagram. It's an honor, privilege to have you. I'm looking forward to working with you for some potential events. Yes. And any last words, Zero?
Well, thank you for coming on the show, giving us legitimacy, co-signing for us, and just being who you are, bro. Keep doing it, and let's build together, because that's the only thing we got is our own familia. And you know, when we grow up in the barrios that we grow up in, that's what gets us through it. And you keep that vibe. You keep that vibe, bro.
And for the record, I'm an East LA native.
East LA native. Yeah. Me too, bro. Me too. I was born in East LA. Yeah. Yo, shout out to the chat. Shout out to all the LA natives out there. Shout out to the Tungvas, original land keepers of this land. So we're straight, you know, there's no disrespect there. Let's be unified in our movement. And everybody go follow OG Husky Radio. They have an amazing platform. They're very knowledgeable in all elements of hip hop. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you for sharing some time with us.
All right, thank you guys, man. Peace.